unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the super fortress of intelligent black thought. This is the blackchannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And the telephone number is 646-787-1933. 646-787-1933 is your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. Join us. And tonight, people, tonight is another gut check night here. We gotta check to see if we even got any guts, apparently. We have to check and see if we're even worthy of saying we have any. Because I've seen some things, and earlier this week I've seen some things, I've heard some things, and I would be remiss in my duties and my responsibilities if I didn't speak on them. First of all, if you are not in Columbus, Ohio, you are missing the most important documentary of all time. Of course, I'm referring to 7 a.m. You are missing the most important documentary of all time. So for those of you who are in Columbus and you are seeing it, you are watching it, you are experiencing it, if you didn't know, prepare to have your eyes opened. For everybody who has seen it, 7 a.m. has not gotten rave reviews. Let me say that one more time. 7 a.m. has not received rave reviews. There was a reason, because I didn't do 7 a.m. in the way that I could have done it. I could have done 7 a.m. in a melodramatic way. I could have done 7 a.m. in order to invoke a specific type of emotional response. I could have done that. I could have written it that way. I could have made, this flowery, motivating, rousing speech at the end of it. I didn't do that. I kept it very short. I kept it very simple. I kept it very to the point. I simply laid out the situation as it stands and what will happen if we do not change. I intended for 7 a.m. to be sobering. And I told this to everybody when I was editing it, the people who helped me get footage for it, everybody else who was involved with it. I intended 7 a.m. to be sobering. That was what I intended for it. I intended for it that when you finish watching 7 a.m., you would not come out. One of the things that bothered me so much, and bothers me so much when you have projects like 7 a.m., is when people come out and say, I was proud to be black, I was proud to be African, I was proud, I was happy when I saw this. And I'm like, no. Because that's the reaction that you have leaving Star Wars or whatever. You don't treat something of this serious nature like that. So it was imperative that people left with a certain impression. And the impression that had to be made was that the situation is dire. The situation is deadly, the situation is dangerous, and the situation is dire. And I wanted you to leave with that acknowledgement. I wanted you to leave recognizing that. So the response that I've gotten from 7 a.m. when people approach me about it is subdued. It's more like a stunned. They come back and express that they were stunned. They were stunned by what they saw. Not jumping up and down on the rafters, they were stunned by it. And that was the point that I wanted to be made from 7 a.m. So if you have not seen it, if you have not witnessed it, if you have not been a part of the most important documentary of all time. If You're Missing It in Columbus is coming up in Detroit. As a matter of fact, I think March 12th in Detroit. You'll have another chance to see 7 a.m. again. March 12th in Detroit. Detroit will have another opportunity to see it. I suggest you take advantage of it because things are accelerating now at an insane pace. We are rocketing along now at an insane pace. And even though black people do not get it, other people get it. And maybe it's necessary that we have this thinning of the herd. That white supremacy is simply allowed to run wild. Unbridled. Unrestrained. To simply do what it wants to do. So that those who are the bootlickers and the butt kissers can be exposed for what they are. I have a fundamental question I want to ask everybody here tonight. Are you more concerned with trying to make yourself more comfortable on the plantation, or are you most concerned with leaving the plantation? What is your goal? What are you actually trying to do? I submit to you tonight that black people as a group are not actually trying to leave the plantation. Black people as a group are attempting to make themselves more comfortable on the plantation. Because we've got liars, because we've got sycophants, because we've got sellouts surrounding us, traitors guilty of high treason, dogging our every step, financed and paid for by our enemies. I posted up earlier this week, for those of you who didn't know about it, you probably heard about Monique talking about that she said that Lee Daniels told her that she was blackballed. Well, on CNN, Lee Daniels, who was interviewed by Don Lemon, yeah, Lee Daniels was interviewed by Don Lemon. Of course, we handpicked them because white supremacy knows. Now, let me tell you right now, before you hear this clip, Lee Daniels admits to everything. Lee Daniels admits to everything that we have said here on the Black Channel. Lee Daniels confesses to it. He confesses to everything that we have ever said about sellouts. He confesses to everything that we've ever said about coons and the gay movement. He confesses to all of it. He confesses. I can't make this any more plain for you tonight. He confessed. And I want you to hear it for yourselves. I want you to hear it for yourselves. Now, I'm going to play the interview right now so you can hear it. And then I'll be back with you so we can explain it.
She says that she was blackballed from Hollywood after the movie.
No, okay, that's wrong one there. We need to start you back at the beginning.
To you about this because you tackle social issues. There's a character on the show who is gay, one of the sons who's gay, and you do a flashback to when the dad realizes, and this is a scene kind of from your life. This happened to you, and you put it in this show. Let's watch.
Feel like I walked 5,000 miles and didn't even come close. Feels like I try to make you smile, but you don't even care, no. try to show you that I'm
Are you
strong.
out of your damn mind? I wish you would.
That scene hit home for me. It hit home for a lot of people, especially men of color who happen to be gay. Why did you put it in there? Were you afraid to put it in there?
Oh, yeah. I had no intention. I told my partner this, and that's why we were a great team. I told him this in passing, and then when it ended up in the script, I said, no, 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 no. And some kind of way, he just talked me into it, and then it came time to shoot it. And he ain't shooting it, I'm shooting it. It's my life, you know? And so my sister, who I bring along as my good luck charm in all my films, was an extra in the scene, in that particular scene, in the house. And when it came to the kid walking towards Terrence with his hands on his hips, I couldn't direct the scene. I broke down in tears because and my sister instinctively knew, got up, and directed the kid. So I didn't direct that moment. My sister did, who ain't a director.
Yeah.
Painful.
I think it's painful. It's very powerful, though. But you're making a difference. You're pushing the envelope, and I think you're forcing people to deal with things that we need to deal with in this society. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
You've also been very candid.
Now, this is Don Lemon, who has never, ever used the words white supremacy, racism, and candid in the same sentence. Talking about a scene from the TV show Empire, of which Lee Daniels is a producer. For those of you who are watching that show, just understand that you are a part of the sickness. If you're watching it, you're part of it. You're a part of it. Because you are feeding their machine. A machine that is built for one purpose: to destroy black society from the inside and make you smile while you perish. When an invading army intends to conquer a people, it is going to have usually one of two options afforded to it. Number one, complete annihilation. Total extermination of that population. And if you take a look at the Native Americans, the Tasmanians, the Aztecs, you start to see that, yeah, it can happen. That's the way it's done. Nazi Germany. Yep, that's the way it's done. The other option that invading force has, and this is the one that if they are invading to build an economy, economies depend on more people. So you can kill two birds with one stone. But something you got to do first. Those people are going to fight you. When you first try to conquer them, they're going to fight you. So what you first have to do is disarm them. Break their capacity to fight. And that means that you have to destroy the military class, the warrior class, the fighters. You have to take out the males. Because by definition, by biology, by instinct, the males will fight you. So you gotta subdue them first. After you subdued the males, the women and the children are helpless. No army of women ever won a war in the history of creation. No army of females ever won a war in the history of creation. The Makedas were not generals, people. They were heads of state. The men were the generals. The men were on the front lines. There were no battles won by females. Put down the damn hemp. Put down the damn weed or heroin or whatever you all are taking out there. Stop it. Because you're trying to live in denial of reality. Once you have disarmed and disabled the warriors, the people can now be occupied. They can be occupied and integrated into your economy. Now that you have subdued them, you can basically force them into your nation's commerce stream. And so, in effect, you have forced them to become citizens. All you got to do now is get them to go along. Once they go along, mission accomplished. You have expanded your power, wealth, and influence by absorbing another group of people. You have expanded your power, your wealth, and your influence. And that is Conquest 101. So a weak, a sissified, and effeminized, and effeminate, and effete, a submissive male class will automatically preclude a dominated female and children. It will automatically guarantee that. If the males are weak, the women and the children are helpless. That is the way warfare has always been waged. That's the way it's always been done. That is how the West was won. That's how it happened. And here you have with Don Lemon and Lee Daniels, DLLD, DL, down low? DLLD. All right. Moving right along. Here you have with Don Lemon and Lee Daniels, two individuals who could not give a damn about what happens to black society or black people. Do you understand that that alone is the reason that CNN chose both of them? That is why Rupert Murdoch, a card-carrying white supremacist, Rupert Murdoch, whose white supremacist credentials are platinum-plated, that's why Empire got the green light. They know what they're doing. From Exodus to Empire. It's not accidental. They know what they're doing. You may be in denial of it because black people love being consumers so much, but they're not in denial of it. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly why they're doing it. Now, that was the first part of the interview. Here's the second part of the interview, where he asks him about Monique. And brothers and sisters, he confesses here. He literally, I'm not kidding you, he's literally going to say that he is a sellout. Literally, verbatim. He literally confesses. I'm going to play that for you, and then we'll be back.
Monique, who is a friend of yours, right? Mm-hmm. She was in Precious.
Yeah.
She says that she was blackballed
Yeah.
from Hollywood after the movie.
No, she said that I said she
That you
was
said,
blackballed.
yes. Yeah.
I didn't say that exactly. What I said to her was that I said, we were on the campaign, and she was making unreasonable demands, and and she wasn't thinking. This is when reverse racism, I think, happens. And I said, you have to thank the producers of the film. You have to thank the studio, and I think she didn't understand that, and I think that, and I said, listen, people aren't going to respond well if you don't. So, I love her, and I've spoken to her, and she's brilliant. And I like working with brilliant people. But sometimes artists get in their own way, and I know I certainly do often. I have my own demons that I get in my own, in front of myself.
So you think she blackballed herself? Because in some ways
this is
you've
what I
got to
think.
do.
I think that there were demands that were made from her on the Precious campaign that everyone knows about that hurt her, and I told her that. So and I.
Yeah.
Que sera, sera.
Can she change that?
I mean, if she plays ball, you got to play ball.
That was the question I wanted to ask
you
you.
have to. This is not just show. It's show business, and you've got to play ball. And you can't scream. I don't like calling the race card. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it because if I buy into it, then it becomes real. Mm-hmm. If I knew what I knew when I was 21, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
But some people call that selling out.
Selling out?
Yeah,
I guess I'm a sellout then. Call it what it is. But I'm not going to not work, and I'm not going to not tell my truth, and I'm not going to call people out on their bull. So whatever that means, sell out. Okay. I'll see you in the theaters.
Wow. Where does that come from? That sort of, I guess what it says, you are being completely emancipated. You live your own truth.
You know, my father told me, he said to me, why do you want to be gay? Mm-hmm. Why do you, it's hard enough being a black man. What do you want to go in there and mess, what are you doing? I said, it's taken me a long time to really embrace that. And I think that if he were alive today, that he would embrace me for who I am. And it's hard keeping it real. It's hard.
So there you have it. He sat there. If you want to know why it is, how it is that Lee Daniels has gotten the deference and the investment from so many people in Hollywood, you just heard him confess it. They're no longer even ashamed, and you know why? Because they understand. They understand that this is a critical, crucial point in history. That this is one of those Shaka Zulu moments in history where the people will have to make a decision, and that the powers of white supremacy will once again have to decide, are they going to let Africans be free, or are they going to fight us? And Lee Daniels is hedging his bets now, and he is placing his marker now on the position that white supremacy is ultimately always going to win. So everything that he says will be for the appeasement of white supremacy. He is one of the enemy within. He's a traitor on the inside, who now makes no bones about who his master is. And you know why? Because he has just that much disdain and disgust and disrespect for you as black people. He has just that much seething hatred that he sees no reason that he should even pretend any longer that things are not what you clearly see they are. I am a sellout. I'll see you at the theaters. Yeah, I sold out, but I sold out to the winning team. He said that because of two things. Number one, he does not think you have the ability to punish him. Number two, he does not believe you have the will to punish him. He doesn't believe that you have either the ability or the will. You have neither the ability nor the will to punish him. Therefore, why shouldn't he spit in your face? Why shouldn't he do it? And this is what his white masters, his white owners have sent. I mean, can you imagine if that's the way he talked on TV? Can you imagine what he talks like behind closed doors? Can you imagine some of the things that he says about black people when his masters have him by himself? You heard what he said on national TV. Could you ever imagine him saying that to Jewish people, Asians, Arabs, women? But he'll say it about black folk. And by the way, you haven't seen the black feminists come to Monique's aid either, have you? All the black feminists, you don't see them going off the rails on Lee Daniels now, do you? You don't see that. Where's the black feminist movement? Where's the black feminist union? Where's Feminista Jones? Where's Feminista Jones and all of their mentally and emotionally unbalanced and unhinged ilk? Where are they? Where are they? To stand up for Monique. Because you see, two adjuncts of white supremacy are not going to fight each other. The so-called black homosexual and the so-called black feminist, those are two adjuncts of white supremacy. They both serve the same master. They are not going to go to war against each other. They're not, because they're both fighting for the same team. They didn't go after Monique because she's a woman. They went after Monique because she's black. And to make my point tonight about, as I've told you all about religion, black folk, he just told you outright what he thinks of you. Now, how many people who watch Empire today are going to stop watching it next week after what they just heard? They just heard Lee Daniels spit in their faces. You just heard Lee Daniels say he's a sellout. You just heard Lee Daniels tell you in no uncertain terms who he's serving. Now, how many of you think that that is going to stop the people who are watching Empire from watching it next week? Now that he's actually come out and said it, you've always said if people could only hear the truth, if they only knew what was really happening, if they could only actually hear it. Well, now they actually heard it, and you think it's going to change a damn thing? Do you think it's going to change a damn thing? Now that he's come out and confessed it, yeah, so what? I work for white supremacy. They're the winning team. Yeah, I'm a sellout. Damn, y'all. White supremacy pays me good. Daddy slaps me on the ass just the way I like it. How many black people are going to change their practices? Just as I've always told you about religion, the problem is not the picture of the white Jesus. The problem is that black people are comfortable with their slave status, and even if you gave them undeniable proof that what they are doing is wrong, they will still continue doing it. Why? Because Lee Daniels knows something about black people that he did not say during that interview. And what he did not say, but that I will be saying here tonight, is that he understands that the majority of black people are beaten and broken and are childish in their intellect and infantile in their mentality. And they are easily led. It takes an act of God to offend black people badly enough to get them to move against you. That is a foregone conclusion that they will side with their masters against their own best interests. So there's no reason for me to be conciliatory. Damn sure no reason for me to be fearful. They will not punish me. Not they cannot. They will not. They will not lift a finger. They are so comfortable in their slave status. They are so comfortable being slaves, it does not even require us to do anything. It's not even necessary. That's what's happening in black society. Now, what's happening elsewhere? Let's take a look at other societies. What is happening in the Hispanic community? What's happening over there with them? I was at TMZ. I saw an article from TMZ that says Michelle Rodriguez, actress Michelle Rodriguez, who frequently works with Robert Rodriguez, by the way. Note to minorities, stop stealing white superhero roles. Now, this was a video posted today, I'm gonna go ahead and play that video for you here now. Some of the camera ambush henchmen from TMZ, they found Michelle Rodriguez out somewhere. You know these people, they just follow you the hell around. They found Michelle Rodriguez out, and they asked her about Green Lantern. Now, this is a Latina, and they asked her about Green Lantern. And I want you to listen to her response to them about Green Lantern. I want you to listen to what she says to them. And see if you can tell the difference between this and what you normally hear when you're talking to black people. I want you to listen to it and see if you see a difference. And then start taking a look at results. And see if the results that we're used to hearing and used to seeing, see if they sound any different. And that maybe if the mentality that you can hear here, maybe see if maybe that actually starts to make a little more sense to you now as to why it is that certain people have gotten the results that they've gotten. And meanwhile, in black society, we've been unable to get any results. I'm not going to say unable to get the results that we want. I'm not going to say unable to get the results that we desire. I will instead say that we're unable to get the outcome that we thought we were going to get, because I think that our goal is not to leave the plantation. Our goal is not really to get out. Our goal is to keep masticating this problem. But I don't think that our goal is actually to leave, because if the goal was actually to leave, you'd be sounding a little bit different when people say things to you.
Thanks for waiting, guys. I think that was really sweet of you.
Michelle,
Oh, gosh.
are you going to be the Green Lantern?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's so stupid for, like, everybody, because of this whole, like, you know, like, minorities in Hollywood thing. Like,
Well, it's been all over the internet,
but it's
though.
so stupid. It's like, stop stealing, you know, all the white people's superheroes. Like, make up your own. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with that?
That's awesome.
Now that was a Latina talking. Saying that if they offered her something like that, that's her response. That's a Latina talking. Now, she went back on Facebook after that video was posted. After that video was posted, she went on Facebook to clarify. But understand, to her credit, she does a true clarification. They shouldn't say it's an apology, because it's not. She simply clarifies what she says and what she meant. And I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you right now so you can hear what she had to say as clarification of what she meant. Let's go ahead and get that going here. Okay, let me see if I can get that restarted here. It's having trouble with trying to get both of them going like that. See if I can get it to try that again. Okay, let's see if we can get her clarification to play now. There must be a bunch of people dogpiling this.
Hey guys, I want to clarify about my comment yesterday. I stuck my foot in my mouth once again, and I said that people should stop trying to steal white people's superheroes. And I guess it got taken out of context because a lot of people got offended or whatever. But, like, I have a tendency to, like, you know, speak without a filter. Sorry about that. What I really meant was that, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, there's a language. And the language that you speak in Hollywood is successful franchise. And And I think that there are many cultures in Hollywood that are not white that can come up with their own mythology. And I mean, we all get it from the same reservoir of life, the fountain of life. And it doesn't matter what culture you come from. I'm just saying that instead of trying to turn a girl character into a guy, or instead of trying to turn a white character into a black character or Latin character, I think that people should stop being lazy, and and that people should actually make an effort in Hollywood to develop their own mythology. It's time to stop trying to take what's already there and try to fit a culture into it. I think that it's time for us to write our own mythology and our own story, every culture. So that's what I really meant, and I'm sorry if it came off rude or stupid.
It didn't come off rude or stupid, Michelle. What it came off as was revolutionary, and because of that, it was frightening to a number of people. She actually said that we should develop our own mythologies. But there's a problem, Michelle Rodriguez. You need to understand something, Michelle. There's a problem with what you said. And the problem with what you said is that in the case of black people as a group hate being black and do not want to identify with it. So creating a mythology that has a black face and a black root, that is anathema to black people as a group, because black people have a self-hatred. So even if you created a black character, black people would introduce white society into that black character's world for the purposes of getting what it is that they actually truly want, because the goal is not to have a black character. The goal is to graft a black face, to take white people's creation, to take white society and graft a black face on it. We don't actually want something that we own. We want what he's got. We do not want a black superhero. We want Superman. We don't want a black superhero. We want Spider-Man. We want Peter Parker. Not even Miles Morales. We want Peter Parker. And the only reason that white society continues throwing out schlock like Miles Morales. If you don't know who Miles Morales is, look up Miles Morales and Spider-Man. Look it up. The only reason that they keep grafting that kind of thing, we're going to have Johnny Storm is going to be black in the Fantastic Four. The only reason that they keep doing that is because every once in a while you have to tap that well. Give black people this false image of being included, but understand, those black people on that TV screen and those movie screens replacing the so-called white characters, you're not actually replacing them. You are just being the Trojan horse. You are being the Trojan horse that is invading black society and leading your people to surrender to white supremacy. Because you're just injecting a black face in a white story for the purposes of getting your people to still show up and deposit their money. But of all the people who are starring in the new Fantastic Four movie, let me tell you the one person who is not going to become a major star. The black one. That's a foregone conclusion. Because ultimately you are there to deflect the criticism that your movies are all white. But ultimately, he is going to make sure that once that criticism is deflected, that the dollar, his job is simply to make sure that the money keeps rolling in uninterrupted. That is his job. To be a black face that brings the money in uninterrupted. As long as the cash is flowing into white supremacy's hands, that's his job, that's his purpose. Because you may own being black, but they own Spider-Man. And no amount of putting a black face on Spider-Man is ever going to loosen their ownership of him. They own Spider-Man. They own Fantastic Four. They own Iron Man, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern. You can have all the black Green Lanterns you want. Ultimately, they own it. And ultimately, they will use these characters in their best interest, not in yours. You will never have a black superhero made by white people who works in black people's best interest. It ain't gonna happen. It's not going to happen. But ultimately, that's black people's goal. Not to leave the plantation, but to try to force Massa to give us some better accommodations on the plantation, but not to actually leave it. Now, some people gotta get their heads cracked open. Some people gotta get their heads cracked open so bad that white society has to crack their skulls open so badly. They gotta crack their skulls open so badly that they don't have a choice anymore except to embrace black empowerment. And let me tell you, Monique got her Halle Berry wake-up call. That being fat and loud and a mammy was cooning and buffooning, and she used to champion it and thought it was great and slick and wonderful until these folk finally treated her like what she was. And today, now that they have officially put their boots up her ass, today she's got a whole different attitude. Today she's got a whole different outlook on everything. Now that they have shown her what they really think of her. She found out the hard way that she's not a woman first, she's black first. And that this is not about trying to make a better accommodations on the plantation. You better get something that you own. And I want you all to remember the word ownership. Remember the word ownership. Because I've got the response that Monique gave to Lee Daniels' interview. I've got that here ready for you to listen to as well. We are going to see if we can take some phone calls on the ever problematic phone lines. We will see how that works out for us. Let's go ahead and try caller from 973. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello?
Yes, you're on live, 973.
Oh, no, I was just listening.
Okay, he sounds doped up. Let's give him an opportunity to come down off the Hennessy. Caller from 682. You're on live with the Black Channel. Where is 682 area code? I forget where that is. Okay, well, never mind that one. Caller from 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. I hear the caller over there, and I hear rustling. I think that they're feeling on themselves. Please don't call us up to do that. Okay. We'll give the phone lines a rest for a little while since it seems that it's Saturday night and the mood is right and they're up all night and they're doing coke. What is it about doing drugs that makes people want to pick up the phone and start dialing people? What is it about that? I don't understand. There's something about doing drugs that makes people want to dial. I'm going to go ahead and play the audio here of Monique responding to what Lee Daniels said about her. And I want you to get her side of the story and listen to something that she's learned since she started being blackballed and see if this sounds like anybody else that you know. See if this sounds like a certain person that you might have been listening to for, I don't know, half a decade, if you're smart. Maybe for the better part of the better part of half of a century, if you've been listening to Dr. Claude Anderson. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to actually, if you don't believe us, and if you don't believe that we were right in what we said, if you don't think that that's the truth, maybe it's time that you hear it from somebody else and have them actually explain it to you to say, you know what? Maybe ownership is where it's really at. Maybe ownership is, after all, where it's really at.
All right, everyone, I want you to sit down and watch this next interview. Because after winning an Oscar, any actor should expect to get offers for the best parts in the best. All right, everyone, I want you to sit down and watch this next interview. Because after winning an Oscar, any actor should expect to get offers for the best parts in the best movies. But that's not the case with Monique, who won Best Supporting Actress in 2010 for her role in Precious. She says the movie's director, Lee Daniels, told her that she's been blackballed because she's difficult and didn't play the Hollywood game. I'm going to ask her about that in a moment. But first, a clip from her searing performance in Precious.
Who else was gonna love me? Since you got your degree and you know everything, who was gonna love me?
Joining me now exclusively is Monique. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Don. How you doing?
I'm doing well. That was you in Precious, and of course, it's a Lee Daniels movie. You wore the gardenias in your hair for your Oscar speech in honor. It was dedicated to Hattie McDaniel. You thanked her. She was the first black person ever to win an Oscar. You thanked her for her enduring legacy and all that she had to do with you, with getting you there. Meanwhile, though, they said that Sunday's Oscars has been called the whitest since 1998. What's going on?
You have to ask them, Don. I don't have the answer to that. And when I heard that joke, I said it must be something when they start making jokes about it to say this is the brightest Oscar award. So it's something that we all have to take notice to, but it's a question that I cannot answer.
It's been 5 years now. So what's it been like? Did you get any roles and anybody call? Was your phone ringing off the hook?
The phone was ringing and the scripts were coming. And when people say, Monique, where have you been? It's not that I haven't been on TV or been in the movies because I've been blackballed, as Mr. Daniels has said. The offers just didn't make sense, Don. So, again, the phones didn't stop ringing and the scripts didn't stop coming, but the offers that were associated with them were offers that made me say, guys, I can't accept that. Because if I accept that and I won the award, what are my sisters being offered that didn't win the award or wasn't nominated? And what does it say to the little girl who's not here yet, that if we continue to accept these low offers, however do we make it different and make a change?
Okay, I want to play this. This was Lee Daniels on this very broadcast last night. Let's listen.
Okay.
We were on the campaign, and she was making unreasonable demands. And, and she wasn't thinking, this is when reverse racism, I think, happens. I said, you have to thank the producers of the film. You have to thank the studio. And I think she didn't understand that. And I think that, and I said, listen, people aren't going to respond well if you don't. So I love her, and I've spoken to her, and she's brilliant. And I like working with brilliant people. But sometimes artists get in their own way. I think that there were demands that were made from her on the Precious campaign that everyone knows about that hurt her, and I told her that.
Can she change that?
I mean, if she plays ball, you got to play ball. This is not just show. It's show business, and you got to play ball.
What's your reaction, Monique? You didn't play the game. You had difficult demands.
In the interest of being fair here at the Black Channel, I'll go ahead and see if we can try this one more time, because we are daring individuals here. We're very, very good about that kind of thing. let's go ahead and open up the phone lines here again, people. If you do not want to speak to the host and you're hearing me on Blog Talk, press 1. That takes you out of the host queue. If you do not press 1, that will leave you on the line to speak to me, since that's kind of what you were asking to do. Caller from 951, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Just listening.
Okay, please learn how to use your keypad, sir. There are some people who get it, and then there are others who do not, even if you announce it for them. Caller from 901, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, TBA. This is Yasel from Memphis.
Okay, if you're on speaker, you're going to want to take that off of speaker. It's muddling you real bad. Whoever is calling. Sounds like you're calling from the trunk. It sounds like you're calling from the trunk of a car. So, I mean, if you're in trouble, just say that I love David Duke or something like that.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, well, first off, what is your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Yashel from Memphis.
Okay, he says Yesiel.
Yes.
That's an interesting name. Yesiel, what's on your mind?
My first call, when I first called, I was asking about opening a restaurant or making clothes. I ended up doing stop motion videos. I need to know where I should put a wanted ad or TBA for a TBA approved mechanical engineer for a camera rig.
Okay.
Especially,
she's asking a technical question, everybody, but fortunately for her, I am up to the task. You're asking about buying a camera rig. Is that what you want?
Yes, specifically made for like 1/6 scale.
If you want a custom-made rig, you have to do it yourself, basically.
Yeah, so
if you're looking for one that's custom-made.
TBA approved.
Yeah.
Mechanical engineer, one that you approve.
My first suggestion to you. My first suggestion would be to contact Adorama.
Let me write that down.
So Adaroma. Adorama. They're a great store. I've dealt with these people before. Between Adorama and B&H, but really Adorama would be my first phone call, because Adorama actually deals with independent filmmakers, and they've been dealing with the rails and rigs the most for the longest amount of time. So if there is a setup that is already made for that, those guys will know. They'll know.
Oh, okay.
If there is not, you will be in a if that does not suit your needs, you will be in the position of having to take one and modify it.
Okay. Either way, it's good for me. And thank you, Black First.
Okay, Black First, sister. Thank you very much. But just out of curiosity, you said you're doing stop motion video?
Yes.
So are you meaning like Go Motion, or for animation where you're like the old Rankin Bass animation?
Yes, like shoot, move, shoot, that type of thing.
Wow, that's
with using some software.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good, actually. That's pretty interesting to do that. Why did you choose to do that when you've got 3D animation and everything else out here? Why did you choose to go that route?
Well, I'm dealing with dolls, so when I'm teaching my daughter and I'm role playing with her, it just seems better when I'm buying all of these toys with them that I can better teach them a lesson when I make videos at the same time to reinforce those lessons.
That is brilliant. That really, really is. We might have to put you in for Mommy of the Year award. That's really great. I wish everybody had that much imagination about it. Thank you very much for giving us a call here. Yes, Yell. Let us know how that goes. If you need any more assistance with that now, if you need any more help beyond that, just contact me. you probably want to send me an email at theblackauthority@yahoo.com. If they can't help you, just contact me. I'll see if there's anything else we can look into that for you, though, okay?
Okay.
You have a good weekend, of course, but if you're here with us, your weekend is already going exceptionally well. Caller from 832, you're on live with the Black Channel.
I'm just listening.
Okay, you need to use your keypad, sir. It's the number 1, people. It's like the first one you come to. I don't know how to make that any plainer. If you're on the line right now and you're hearing me, that's amazing. It really, really is. Caller from 302, you are in the host queue with Jason Black.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, this is J. Stephen Blackman. I'm actually calling from New Jersey right now. And I wanted to tell you, I've been trying so hard to get, been very busy, helping out. But I just wanted to tell you real quick that when I went to see, I seen a YouTube video of a guy when he was talking about your documentary. And I must say I was upset because the only thing that he got out, when he was asked about it, the only thing that he got out his mouth was this was the most important documentary, that I've seen in my lifetime. That's how important it was. And I was sitting back and I was like, now, why didn't he get out more? This is the time to let people know if this was important. And the only thing that stopped me from getting out there was because I was helping out with my father, in the hospital. But I said, I still got to get out there and see it. I go out there and see it in Philadelphia Theater. And at the end of seeing it, I kid you not, I'm glad nobody came up to me because it was so much. I understood the look on the guy's face because I was processing so much information still. Even all the way till I got back, it was definitely the most important documentary that to be seen in my lifetime. Glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad you came back from your hiatus to bring that to us. It was very important.
Well, the people ask me where I've been and what I've been doing the work of kings and warriors, basically. I did not want to make a movie that a lot of folk make a movie for the purposes of getting you to feel something. I made a movie because I wanted you to think, not to feel. And my goal, I told everybody when I was writing it out, when I was preparing it, when I was editing it, that I would feel like a failure if one of two things happened. If people came out of 7 a.m. feeling nothing, and if they came out of 7 a.m. thinking nothing and feeling everything, I would feel like a failure.
Okay.
My goal was to make it where I didn't want it to be like a car wreck. What I wanted it to be like was you go to the doctor and he tells you that you've got cancer. I wanted it to be that moment where that it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to die, but it does mean that if you do nothing, you will. And when a doctor gives you a diagnosis like that, you're leaving his office in a daze. You're leaving his office saying, if people come up and talk to you, you're just looking at them because it's like your mind is not there with them. Your mind is still in his office. It's somewhere else, and they're trying to inject other thoughts, and it's like, whoa, I got to get the entirety of my being focused towards what I was just told, and that was what I wanted with 7 a.m.
That's exactly how it felt. And I didn't want to disturb. I know you have a lot of messages, so that's why I haven't been sending you messages because I wanted to know there were people. I didn't see you mention it. That's why I didn't act on it, and I was still handling stuff at home. But there were people afterwards taking information, gathering, trying to get everybody together, and I just didn't know if that was underneath you or
no. Yes, it was.
Something.
Yes and no. I spoke to everybody before then. Look, everybody has been asking the same dumbass questions since we left the plantations for 150 years. When are black people going to get together? When are black people going to get together? When are we all going to get together? 7 a.m. is for the purposes of serving two purposes. Number one, it tells you that entrepreneurship and business economics is the answer. And number two, it gets you all together in one place for that purpose. It gets everybody in the same room for that purpose. You are finally, for the first time in your life, dealing with a bunch of people and in the room with a bunch of people who didn't come in to jigaboon and dance and twerk and be entertained. They came to build. So I said, the reason why I rented the theaters for as long as I did, the movie is 2 hours long, but I rented my theaters for 2.5 hours. Let me say that one more time. The movie is 2 hours long, but every theater that I rented, I paid for 2.5 hours of time. 2.5 hours of time, not 2 hours. And you know why? So that people could talk and discuss and trade notes and trade cards and get to know each other before they left that room. Because I got you here and I got to take advantage of it, and you got to take advantage of it. So I've done what absolutely nobody out there anywhere has done. Not only did I take the message to mainstream television, not only did I take it to radio, not only did I take it off the internet, I took it to the national media, I took it to local media, I took it on TV and radio, and then I gave you the ability that when you actually got there, I made sure that when the movie was over, there wasn't anybody running in there telling you that you all gotta leave. Because now your mind is on leaving the theater instead of actually because I understand that moment is crucial. The moment after a movie at 7 a.m. is crucial because you'll have a lot of people who are stunned, but you're going to have a lot of other people who are like, man, I got to get moving on this now. And I wanted you all to not be rushed. And I wanted you all to have the ability and the freedom and the leeway of time to be able to immediately act on what you had just heard. And that means you need time to give out your business cards, time to call people, time to get numbers, time to exchange information. And I did the best. I did everything that I could. Hell, I paid for the damn theaters. I did everything I could. I don't see how I make it any. I don't see how. What more could I possibly do? So yes, people were doing that because I had instructed them to.
Okay. I'm going to be sure to get back in touch with the person who was at that Philadelphia theater. But I also got to say, because I'm at work. Like I said, I'm working on purpose. I'm trying to stay busy to get things going. And I want to be one of those people who said I got motivated. It was years back. It was listening to your broadcast. I kid you not, I started giving up hope for listening to your broadcast. I'm like, okay, let me get back on my grind, get things up and going. But what I wanted to say was, I'm glad you said something at least 4 years ago how non-blacks basically would start showing their they're going to start admitting that they're white, and the other thing is they're going to start showing how much disdain or how much they really don't care about you. And I'm glad you and Tariq have, because I don't want to misinterpret. Tariq has another bomb dropping as far as Hidden Colors, and I think it's important to have both of them. It's very important to have both of them. I'm glad you two put these out, especially during this time period. But what I wanted to say was that you said that this stuff was going to go on, and you said this like 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't know. There's a lot of stuff that I'm missing on purpose, but I just heard the Monique thing that you just played, and they're really, what you said is actually coming to pass. And you've done it before, but what power does is you can't shame what they did. Exactly what happened during the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King had basically showed the world these are the type of people we're dealing with. So they were kind of shamed. Now in the media, every media chance they got, we've been demonized in it. And now you have people like Monique or and what Lee Daniels said was scary. Even though it's expected, it is really scary when somebody can come out and say, I sold out and I'll see you in theaters, But you have it's like you can't shame these people anymore because they demonized you, and it's like you can't use that card against it.
Could you imagine that on the plantation?
Go ahead.
Could you imagine that on the plantation where one of the house niggas comes out the house and he's done helped Master tie one of y'all up and beat you? And here Master goes back in the house and y'all talking about you a sellout, and he says, I'm a sellout, so what? I'll see you in the house.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine it because I just witnessed it. It's up in my face, and for somebody to feel that comfortable to say it, and the shock. Not only was it expected, the shock. Like, have we gone this far where our kind can actually be all right with saying this? You know, it's expected, but still, and I'm glad it's shocking, and it's nothing I want to get used to, because it lets you know the dire situation that we're in. It's constantly been throwing in our faces the dire situation that we're in, to the point where what you said just happened. You know, the slave comes out, ties you up, and lets you know, hey, I'm all right with this. You know, I got my place in the house. And but like I said, that's why I'm glad you guys are coming. That you guys actually took the time out of your lives to bring us something like this, because we only have so many people that are still looking out for us. And I'm just glad you, like you said, you created that opportunity for us to come together. You know, and it was beautiful, man. For lack of a better word, to see all of us, we came to see this, you know, for whatever reason, and as much information that we got from it, and then at the end, you know, you still had people trying to gather the masses together. You know, I can't thank you enough. And there's so much more I want to say. It's just that, like I said, I'm at work. I got to get back here, but I really wanted to call in and thank you. And I'm glad that the other thing is, I'm glad you explained to these young men about the system, because a lot of these guys, they come from broken situations. I don't care if they come from two-parent homes or anything. They don't understand the relationship between man and woman. I'm glad you took the time out to explain that again, because it can be that, you know, it can be misinterpreted some ways. And I'm glad you and Tariq broke that down also, because a lot of things aren't being shown to the younger generation because of the generation that came before us. You know, it's like we keep starting from scratch. But like I said, I just wanted to thank you. And I wanted to tell you after the show, I said, forget each one teach one. I was like, each one be one. I'm saying it again, I can't thank you enough, and I got to go back to work. And Black first, brother.
To each one be one. Black first, brother. That's another person who went to go see 7 a.m. Like I say, that was the reaction that I was looking for from people, because I want you to take this seriously. I do not want this to be something where you're just passing it around to everybody. This will be great to watch. I want this to be something that you're hesitant about, where you're saying, I don't know, because this is going to make them feel some kind of way if they watch this. This is going to make them look at their lives differently. My folks are the civil rights generation. If I show this film to them, they're going to start looking at themselves funny. They're going to start asking they're going to be afraid I'm going to ask them why come they ain't building nothing. And I am. I mean, boy. 7 a.m. is the kind of movie that can break up families. 7 a.m. is the type of movie that will break up your family if you don't watch out. It'll break up your family. It'll do it. It will do it because a lot of you are not ready. A lot of you have not dealt with this issue. Most of you have not dealt with the issue of the fact that your parents and grandparents didn't build nothing for you, and you're going to come out at 7 a.m. looking at them funny style. You're going to come out at 7 a.m. looking at them sideways. When you realize why you're in the shape that you're in, and that they told you that it was about religion or education or integration, and when you finally find out the truth, it's about economics. What do you own? What do you control? And what are you passing down? You're not going to look at your parents the same way. I'm just warning you, you're not going to look at them the same way. Maybe. Consider yourselves forewarned. Caller from 414, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, Jason Black.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is William from Milwaukee.
William from Milwaukee. What's on your mind, brother? Willie. Okay. Don't call him Don't call him William, y'all. Call him Willie from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
I already nuked my family. Yeah. 2004 was kind of interesting. Lost my job, went back to school. I'm going for criminal law. I'm trying to be a correctional officer because I'm kind of older. I don't have the time to be chasing people out there being a cop. I'm about to be 42, so I said to myself, they'd rather have a young person than an old person. So I'm doing that. But what caused me to hit the nuke button on my family is that my family owned land in Carthage, Mississippi. And I was talking to my brother. I said, let's go back down there and see if we can get hold of some of that land because Uncle James had died.
Now, wait a minute. Now, when you say land now, okay. let's be very specific here. When you say land, exactly how much land we talking about?
Well, they didn't give me the amount, but they told me there was enough land that they had enough, they could give it, they had trees that was cut down that they can give it to the state to pay off. And Uncle James was like, yeah, you come back down here, I'll build your house on there and you can live down here. Well, Uncle James had died, and he had 2 sons and 1 daughter. The 2 sons, they were on drugs. The 1 daughter was okay. So I said to my brother, I said, hey, we may want to beat feet down there before them 2 crackheads want to mess around and upset the apple cart, and we get nothing, because our side of the family don't have anything. Meanwhile, my brother, he goes and talks to my mother and goes leaks it out, and they get back to me. It's like, well, reason we didn't do anything with that land is because we couldn't pay for the taxes. And I said to myself, James, he was a plumber, 1 man. And I have you, your sister, my uncle, as 3 adults, along with us. You mean to tell me we can't do something that this 1 man has pulled off? The math doesn't seem right. So we went back and forth with that. So I let it go because I was trying to keep hold of the family. But then the bubble bust. My cousin called me over one day. We having a family get together, and he has a girl over there. He said, well, this is my wife. I said, oh, you married? He's like, no. I said, how you calling her your wife? Well, she already had 2 kids by 2 different guys. I said, okay. He's telling me that the baby father is a piece of dirt bag. I was like, well, you're a dusty Negro. I was like, so we in the room, me, my brother, him. She's in the bag, and I'm telling her, like, you need to man up. And so you need to marry this woman because you're being a representation for that younger girl and for that man, for that little boy. My brother said, you're being disrespectful to the female. I said, I don't have to talk to her. She's living here with him. They already told me if whatever he says, she's down with it. I don't have to talk to her. And I said, your father's a 2-bit felon. I said, you don't want to be like him, right? And then my mother and aunt came out and was like, you can't talk about his father. I said, he's not a kid. He's in his 20s. I said, what's the problem? So we get outside, and my brother wants to fight me in the middle of the street. And I said, if I get into a fight with him, there's a domestic abuse charge I could catch because we are related and we have lived together. And that could stop me from doing anything because I can't carry a firearm in Wisconsin. And he knows what I'm studying. And I was like, yo, that's wild. I was like, you know what? I'm hitting the nuke on you people. I said, it's bad enough I'm catching flack at school. Because when I took automotive, got a certificate, got my certification for the Fed and state for Wisconsin to do for your, what's the word I'm looking for? Not your antifreeze, but your Freon in your car. And I was like, okay, let me switch over to criminal law because my counselor jacked me up. And before I switched over, it's like, well, we don't know if you could do this. And then they looked at my grades. It's like, oh. I was like, yes. I took 15 credits, knocked that out. Took 20 credits, knocked that out. I'm about to graduate at the end of this year. And I'm about to go into, well, I wouldn't say go into, I'm about to finish my application to go into the correctional, academy at Gateway Technical in Kenosha. And when I go to that course, I don't see a lot of black people. And when I see a lot of brothers and sisters, they're on that bullshit.
I wish I could say that your story was rare. I wish I could say that. but I can't. Now, everybody, let's walk back through this right quick, okay? Let's walk back through this. Now, you said that you're from Wisconsin, but the land was in Mississippi. So, were you originally born in Mississippi, or you were born in Wisconsin and your people are from Mississippi?
My people from Mississippi, I was born in Chicago.
Okay. So, what does this tell us? That means they straight from the slave plantations. Okay. Now...
Well, yeah. My Big Mama had her own land, but she was a sharecropper.
Yeah, but what that tells you, after slavery, they said we got to own something. Because they realized as slaves that the difference between them and Massa was that Massa owned something and they didn't. Now, being from Louisiana, which is right next door to Mississippi, I can be in Mississippi in an hour and a half. Actually, I can be in Mississippi in 1 hour if I want to be. I can be in Mississippi in an hour. So there's nothing you're going to tell me about Mississippi. No. But understand something. In my people, it was a lot of the same situation, even though, you know, where the slavery thing is concerned, like I say, that's a whole different story where my family is concerned. But even for people whose families were not necessarily slaves, if you are black and born in these areas, you are living under slave code. So I've never tried to differentiate myself in that way. If you are black and born in America, you are living under slave code. It doesn't matter whether your people come from slavery or not. It doesn't matter. Totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. Now, with my people, it was always about ownership from day one. All right? That's a good thing going for you. It's always been about owning land. I come from a family where that's what we do. We understand it's about owning things. Now, your people got that in their heads, but there's a problem. And the problem is that damn civil rights generation, which is the one before you, the folk you complaining about. And the kids are off on drugs and whatnot because they had better things to do than raise their kids. Understand something. J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, the CIA, yeah, they made drugs available in the black community, but understand it was only available because black people wanted it. They wanted it because anything that came from a white hand, as far as they were concerned, even if it was drugs, even if it was death, that they saw that as their any opportunity they had to interact with white people, that was what they were looking for. If you go and watch, there's a great documentary called Mr. Untouchable. It's about Nicky Barnes. And it talks about, oh, you saw Mr. Untouchable?
Yeah.
Now, if you'll remember, the downfall of Nicky Barnes' organization was what? When he had this young fella.
He broke his code.
Messing around with this white dude. And they letting him on the inside, and he's tapping. He's wearing a damn wire. And they got him all over the damn place on the inside. So the direct connection between white supremacy, the drugs, and the black community, so much so to the point that they will all go to jail for the rest of their lives in order to be integrated. That's how badly they wanted it, and they didn't give a damn if you lost and you suffered because of it. That is just the truth of it. Now, moving right along. So your uncle's got land, but he's also got some crackhead kids. That's his failure. That's the failure. Because you see, if you're concerned about your legacy, you don't let your kids get off on drugs like that. And if you got more than one, that means that you have failed to raise your children. You got land, but you have no principles. And very soon thereafter, if you have no principles, you will lose everything before it's over. The purpose of learning economics is to make it a principle, not to have things. Make it a principle. And once you have that principle, it will help guide everything else in life. Next step, moving along. Now they don't give a damn about losing it because they're not building anything. The land is there, but they're not interested. They are not interested in using it to its potential. They're not going anywhere with it. So now what's going to happen is some white folk are going to end up with the land that was in your family for generations. That's a damn shame, but that's what's going to happen. Now, you're going to school to get something done. Your brother has taken up with this hood rat because he's dusty as hell and ain't got a damn thing going for him. That's why he's okay with being with her. Let me say that one more time. Your brother is dusty as hell ain't got a damn thing going for him, and that's why he has no problem being with her. He's calling her his wife because she is ratty enough that she will accept that token of esteem in place of the real thing. And you know that black men are experts at selling people intangibles. What does that mean when a man calls you his wife and will not give you a ring or a sheet of paper that makes it tangible? He has not brought that proclamation into the real world. He refuses to declare it. He refuses to bring proof to it. So tomorrow morning he can get up and say, "Heff, I don't know you. But I'm your wife. We ain't got no ring." That's going to be the first words out of his mouth. The first words out of his mouth will be, "We ain't got no ring." But he will have spent all this time telling her that a ring doesn't matter. The first time he wants to leave, he's going to reference that ring, though. First time he wants to leave, he's going to reference that marriage license, or shall I say the lack thereof. That's how they run game on people. But he's not building anything. He's not building nothing. And because of that, he's okay with creating this chaos, but then again, he comes from generational chaos. Last thing, he wants to fight you. Now, here's the problem with that, beside the fact that makes him an uncouth barbarian. The problem is that he understands that remember what I just said a minute ago, he has nothing to lose. What's he got to lose if he goes to jail? Tell me, Willie. What's he going to lose? His job? Is he going to lose his job?
No, he's not working.
Oh, wow, okay. Is he going to lose his house?
He lives in public housing.
Is he going to lose? Is he going to lose his school and his scholarship?
Well, he went over his 150% without a degree.
Okay. So, in other words, he has nothing coming to him. He's got nothing to lose. So it doesn't matter what he does. Does he have a car?
In my mama's name, yeah.
Okay, then he doesn't have a car. Your mama's got a car.
Okay.
Your mom has a car.
Correct.
Yeah. He ain't got a car. His mom's got one. Because that's like saying, does he have a house? Yes. It's in these white folks' name. Then he doesn't have a house.
No, but you know what? I got past that, but that wasn't a dagger that stopped me in my tracks. The dagger that stopped me was that, I'm a vet. Me and another vet, we got together, and we thought about, owning some property and being landlords. So I got with him and his wife. They had an LLC. They said they want me to be a part of their board. I said, fine. But we never could sit down and do the paperwork. But she said, hey, go to the landlord class. I did that. So I'm sitting there. I was like, okay, when we going to sit down? When we going to sit down and talk so we can put things on paper after Christmas? I said, Christmas, okay, I can dig that. And then she came to one thing. She was like, hey, let me hold $1,000. I said, okay.
Bad idea.
That's why I messed up. She told me, well, after I transferred the money, he was like, don't let him know. I was like, what the hell? Now we're on a payment. I'm on a payment plan with her. I received my first payment today. Took it to the bank, and then I was like, you know what? I can't do business with you. And then she come back and tell me, well, he only wants you on the board. And I was like, wait a minute. If you want me on the board, let's sit down and do paperwork. Let's get it nailed out. And I was like, you pussyfooting, I can't deal with this. And I'm like, you're a soldier just like I was a soldier. You do it. If you got a task, you take care of it. Be done with it. But I was like, something's fishy. I don't know if you're talking to him. He's not talking to you. I don't know what's going on with your organization. And then they kept asking me, what do you want to do? I told them what I want to do. I said, hey, we get this property, especially in Milwaukee off North Avenue, build it up, rent it out. I said, after that, he wants to do a church. I said, that's cool. I said, you do that on your own. I said, I want to do this. You do that church on your own. I'm breaking camp. I said, I'd rather do the homes and then do something for vets and then have some kind of security firm. That's what I'm heading to. And after that, they kept asking, what you want to do? What you want to do? I was like, I just told you. So that's what's, I was like, I thought we came to an understanding, but we didn't have an understanding. So now I'm just trying to get my money back.
Okay. Well, you learned a valuable lesson. And one of the valuable lessons that you learned, as I was explaining to you a few minutes ago here, black men. Now, was this other fella black also?
He's black. His wife is Mexican.
Yikes.
She's a resident.
Okay. She's a resident. She's not a citizen.
Yeah.
Okay. And see, that's what got you right there, because we as black folk tend to get confused about these things. What you found out was that you never go into business relying on intangibles.
Yeah.
That's what you found out. Now, you were asking okay with him. She shows up, and all of a sudden, we don't need intangibles. We don't need tangibles anymore. And what you found out the hard way, unfortunately, I'm glad it was $1,000, not $100,000. But in any case, you found out the hard way that you never go into any business arrangement relying on intangibles. Do you have any paperwork whatsoever signifying that this was what the arrangement of giving this money was? Text messages.
Yes.
That can be kind of tough, man. Email would be better. But what you're finding out is that black men are very, very good for engaging in intangibles. You never let money change hands until you have something on paper that explains why the money is changing hands. And I got friends.
My professor, I told her that, and she lit me up.
I got friends. Well, I got people I know. I get this message from people all of the time. TBA, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, you can sue them, and that may help. Then again, that may not. It just depends. But here's the real problem is that you can't sue everybody. I got an issue going on with about this theater situation, and we got another one here that's staring at our throats about a certain online vendor about my DVDs. There's a certain situation broiling there. You have to pick and choose your lawsuits. You can't sue everybody. Even if you're in the right, you can't sue everybody. Especially once you go into business. Now, if you're like me, guys will tell you about this, man. It's got 4 and 5 lawsuits going at any one time. It's got to be worth it. Because, I personally put my attorney's kids through college. But even if you win, these things are time consuming, they're taxing, and, it's money that you could be spending elsewhere, and it serves you best to do your due diligence to make sure that you don't get into a situation where the odds are more in favor that you will end up having to do that at some point, because I can't tell you how many business partners I've had that have gone bad on me. I can't tell you I could actually tell you how many. It's enough that I don't do partners like that anymore. It's enough that I'm very, very reserved about it. But you found out that we're very, very good about, dealing with intangibles. We're very, very good about selling people on stuff they can't see, can't touch, can't measure. And when he started talking about the church thing, red flags all over. Because he's saying he wants to be a professional hustler. Red flags all over.
He wanted me to be a deacon. And I'm like,
yeah, but
I'm looking at him like, no.
Yeah, but here's my real thing though, Willie. He didn't just pop up one day giving you the preacher man hustle. You knew this about him a long time ago, brother. He didn't just pop up one day with that preacher man hustle talk going on about Jesus all the time.
Religion, but I didn't think he was gonna.
Brother, when he was into religion, that was your warning. That was your warning right there. TBA, is it that serious? It's that serious. When somebody is sitting here talking to me about the love of Jesus all the time, he talks about that all the time and is always interjecting that. What that tells me is that his priorities and my priorities are not the same. You see, I'm trying to build an economy.
Me I was so cold when we discussed business. He would tell me I would be cold sometimes.
Brother, I'm cold all the time. You can call me the Iceman. I'm cold. Brother, when you walk the coldest place in America, you know what the coldest place on earth is? It is not your freezer. It is not the Arctic. It's not the Antarctic. It's the seat at the loan officer's office at the bank. That is the coldest place on earth. Stone cold. Because this man ain't got nothing to say to you if the numbers aren't there. And it is life and death. And he will not, there is no empathy, there is no sympathy. You either got it or you don't. You have what he wants or you don't. And that's it. And Negroes trying to appeal to your feelings. As I told the previous caller about 7 a.m., people trying to appeal to your feelings, not to your mind, but to your heart, to your feelings. He's trying to hustle something. If his world revolves around appealing to people's feelings, he's trying to hustle something. And I don't deal with people who are hustlers like that. I just don't. I don't. If you want an instant ticket to not be my woman, start telling me you go to church. If you want an instant ticket for me to not do business with you, start telling me about how you want to build a church. Not that I have anything against religion. I don't. I respect everybody's religion. That's fine. But you and I are at cross purposes. Don't tell me that you're all about your religion, but you're about business. It's going to be very, very difficult. Going to be very, very difficult for that to happen. Going to be very, very difficult to happen. So once he started that talk to you, brother, that was your time to start heading toward the exit. Take this as a lesson in the future. Well, I can't prejudge people. Okay, wait till the next time it happens. I hear people all the time with that can't prejudge people. I say bastard baby maker. Somebody calls my phone lines. Hello, ma'am. Yes, my name is Bushika. I got 3 kids. Hello, bastard baby maker. Hello, my name is Tiffany. I don't have a made up name. I got a professional job. Oh, that's nice. I got 3 kids. By how many men? 3 men? Were you ever married? No. Hello, bastard baby maker.
But the kill that got me was that, I'm going to school full time. I'm basically using my GI Bill. And there's 2 of them. She's working for a non-profit organization, and he has his disability, and he's working a little part-time job. So when I asked for my money, she was like, "Yo, I can't give it to you all at once." And I was kind of confused. I was like, "You told me how all this revenue coming in, now to say you can't give me my $1,000." I was like, "What's going on?"
Did you ever validate the revenue before you gave them the money? No. The answer is no, you didn't. And this happens all the time. That's how con artists work. They never show you tangibles. Let me explain something to you, brother. There's a reason why a guy who 99% of you have not seen was able to get thousands of people to show up for theaters to see my movie. You know why? Because I brought you all tangibles first. 7 a.m. was a success because I brought you, even though you all didn't have to see me, you saw what I did. You saw what I did, and it didn't just teleport here from some foreign dimension. You saw what I did. You saw what I did. I brought you something you could see. When I brought you the first footage of Umar Johnson, and then I brought you the first footage, full damn well y'all have never seen a video anywhere on earth that has Dr. Claude Anderson just sitting in a chair looking at somebody. Full well you've never seen that anywhere. Full high definition video of Dr. Claude Anderson just sitting in a chair looking at something. Ain't no video like that out there nowhere, except probably Tariq Nasheed, and there's another documentary that's out there. I think there's another documentary I think he was involved with. I don't know if it was one about Wilmington on fire, but that's it. And you know what the footage from those looks like. So full well this is something different. I brought you tangibles. Don Peebles. Now everybody knows what it looks like on CNBC, but you're like, hey, this looks like a movie. Don ain't did no movies. So I'm showing you footage. When I did my trailers, when I did the first, the crowdfunding, when I did that, I brought you a tangible. You didn't have to guess about it. You're hearing Don Peebles talk to you, Brett Pulley talk to you, Claude Anderson talk to you. And then when we did the final trailer for it, by that time, the deal was already sealed in 2013. But I mean, the deal was already sealed in 2013. Really, to be totally honest with you, it was already sealed. But by the time we got to late 2014, man, you had so many tangibles that you look stupid if you thought anything else. So I didn't let you, my point is I didn't bring you all to 7 a.m. based on faith. And black people, especially black males, are conditioned to deal with other people based on faith, not on facts. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or read the book A Raisin in the Sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a play in high school.
Well then, we all know how that story ended with Sidney Poitier's character, if you all saw the movie. We all know how that ended.
You know what?
And what that tells you
I'm not
is...
going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you something. It's going to piss you off. And I thought about when talking to you. She came over to my house one day, and we talking about, she was with the community, and she was like, talking about how the state, black people. So I was like, I played one of your clips, and I played Dr. Claude Anderson. She was like, well, that sounds kind of radical. And at the time, I didn't say anything. I should have G-checked it. I let it go.
Why?
Why? I thought, you Mexican, what you gonna know?
Okay, describe her.
She didn't even know.
Stop.
She didn't know anything about a minstrel show. I had to show her that.
Slow down. Slow down. Pump your brakes. I want to know something about her right quick if I can. You said she's a resident. How old is she?
You know what? You really don't know. She may be older than me, or I may be older than her.
Who does she... Give me somebody that we can compare her to so that I have some idea of the kind of person I'm looking at here. Give me somebody we can compare her to.
Okay, you remember that one lady that got voted to the Supreme Court, that Mexican lady?
Sonia Sotomayor.
Yeah.
She looks like that.
Almost like that, yeah. Shorter.
Shorter than Sonia Sotomayor?
Well, I'm 5'7". I'm taller than she is.
Ooh, hell, she's 3 apples high. Oh, man. She's going to be a stunt double for the Smurfs.
She got muscle. She's about 176.
Oh, she's a football.
Yeah.
My goodness, she's a beach ball. I was about to say maybe you were sexually tempted. If you were, brother, your standards got to bump up. But and your friend standards too. Dude, I never would have done business with a fella on disability with an illegal alien beach ball. Do you understand what this looks like in retrospect? I gave $1,000 to who? Well, he's a veteran on disability working a part-time job, and he loves Jesus, and his wife is a 5'3", 175-pound Wilson soccer ball.
Well, we used to run the streets when we were younger.
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah.
And here's the problem, my friend. Here's the problem. You picked up a habit of bringing people around you who ain't going nowhere. And see, that's really, really bad. I did a broadcast about this last night, brother. We have a bad habit, especially these black males, of congregating other black males around us who ain't going nowhere. They got nothing to lose. They got nothing to lose. I mean, once again, tell me if these questions I'm about to ask you sound familiar here for just a moment, okay? About your buddy. Right. About your buddy now. You used to run the streets with him. He was in the military. You were in the military. Tell me, if you had the police come and arrest him tonight, would he lose his job?
No.
Would he lose his income?
No.
Would he lose his house?
No.
Would he lose his scholarship or his schooling?
No.
So, in other words, he can sit here, mess you off, mess off your money, and even if you had him put in jail, you got a fella on your team with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
sound familiar? And as black men, we tend to do that. Brothers and sisters, I don't go deep, I go heavy. I don't go deep, I go heavy. And the reason I do that is because we can't break this cycle if we don't ever actually acknowledge and face up to what the hell got us into this. And as black males, so many black men are carrying the emotional baggage of their families. You're carrying it around like with you, as Phil Collins said in the song, it's like a load on your back that you can't see. This invisible burden on you. And you're carrying your family's mistakes with you everywhere you go. You're replicating them. You're duplicating them everywhere you go. And we cannot continue to do this. We can't. We can't. Because, I mean, we are literally repeating a raisin in the sun. Literally. Literally. We're a century later, Lorraine Hansberry is just shaking her head. We are repeating our grandparents' mistakes, not even our parents' mistakes, our grandparents' mistakes. I'm not trying to beat up on you. My audience is everybody who's listening right now, because a lot of y'all have done exactly what he did. It's not like he's by himself. A bunch of y'all listening right now did exactly what he did. He's just the guy admitting it. The rest of you are out there, hey, you see him? Nigga, you done gave up 5 times that amount.
Well, the thing, when we was talking about, he went to Afghanistan, I went to Iraq. She let it slip that he thinks I'm more crazier than he is. Because certain decisions that I made, I was like, that those are absolute. And he told her, I was like, wow. So you think I'm a little bit more off than you are?
You might be.
I said, okay. Huh?
You might be. Most con men are amazed that people fall for the ruses that they give them. Most con men would be like, man, I would never have believed anybody if they told me that. Most con men get over on people simply because they're daring. Not because they're smarter, but because they have the audacity to tell this lie. And then, hey, man, I can't believe somebody actually fell for that. So when he says that, he's talking to you.
Should I go up there and rage or just play the cool role like I'm playing now?
At this point right here, brother, you have more. You understand something. Of everybody that you just described for me, from your parents to your uncles to your cousin to your brothers to even your friends, so far you have not described a single person, with the sole exception of your professor. Is your professor black?
Yes.
Okay. So far, the only person that you have described so far that you have met, out of everybody you have talked to me about on this phone, I mean literally every single person you talked to me about on this phone, with the exception of me and your professor, ain't got nothing to lose. You have surrounded yourself with a bunch of people who have absolutely nothing to lose, and you trying to build. Brother, you don't let anybody get in the way of your building. If you want your $1,000 back now, I suggest you take them to court, take them to small claims court, and that's going to be about the most you can do. That's going to be about the most you can do. Because it's not like they have the money, brother. It's not like they have it. You can go on a rampage if you want to. Only thing that's going to happen is you going to end up derailing what you got. So that's going to be about the most you can do right now. You are going to have to cut your losses, and you're going to have to chalk this up as a lesson learned about the pathology. Forget about the LLC. The LLC, next time it may be somebody coming to you with a McDonald's franchise. It may be somebody coming to you with multi-level marketing. It may be somebody coming to you with a movie. I don't know what the next trick will come looking like. I do know that the pathology will be the same. He will come to you with no details. He will come to you with nothing tangible that you can see and check and confirm and verify. And he will show you $0. Those 3 things will always be the hallmarks of somebody who is not ready to do business and probably trying to pull some bull jive. Doesn't matter what offer they come to you with. You check for those 3 things. If you don't find all 3 of those things, there's a problem. With 7 a.m., I brought you all tangibles, I brought you details, and I showed you the money. Let me say it one more time. I brought something you could see and feel. I brought you something that had details down to the letter, and I showed you the money. At that point, you are now able to make an informed and accurate decision. You might say yes, you might say no, but you know that this is not a scam or a con job, because I showed you all three things. You live the rest of your life like that, and you will avoid 99% of the scam artists out there. That 1% will be the people who they started good and went bad later. Now, it's going to be very, very hard to people get corrupted. They start out good and then they turn bad. Everybody doesn't always start out bad. Sometimes you get down the road and it turns bad, and I've had that happen too. I'm not immune. I've had it happen. Every business person you ever deal with, some folk are built for the long haul, and other people, they get started, but they go for the quick buck. They get derailed. Something with a nice round rump comes in the room, and next thing you know, this Negro is doing everything except concentrating on business. Brother, it happens. It happens. So in your case, like I say, first of all, take this as a lesson for the future. You got something that you're doing. You need to finish that. I'm not thrilled with the degree that you've chosen, but you seem to have an idea about what to do with that. Being a professional, like I say, the only problem that I would have with it is I would want to have a law degree. I wouldn't want to just have enough to go to work for the state. I would want to have something that I can own. And so far, you have not described for me the path to ownership.
Well, I'm still kind of tossed up with what I want to do.
Why don't you just get your
so
law
many
degree?
Options.
Why do you not get your law degree?
Well, like they look at me like I said, I'm about to be 42, but I'm physically fit. I'm in better shape than the most 18-year-olds that go through their academy.
Okay, brother, that doesn't have anything to do with anything. The question is, why do you not just get your law degree so that you will have something that you actually own? Because right now, all you have described for me is a path to go to work for the state. You cannot own
I haven't thought about that.
You cannot own your job. Now, the con man came to you with something that you could own. You can't own your job, brother. You can't own that. There is no path to wealth with your job. Not now, not ever. There's no path to wealth for that. So what I'm telling you is that...
So I might as well take it to a 4-year and then go get the law degree.
I'm saying, what do you want to do with your life? You went into the military...
I want to have something to pass on.
Stop. Emergency break. How long were you in the military? Just the number.
6.
6 years. So, when did you get out?
2006.
Okay. And right now you said you're 42?
I'll be 42 this October.
Okay, you're 41 right now.
Correct.
Okay. So you got out of the military 10 years ago. You were 31. And 6 years before
33.
that. Okay, 33. 33.
I went in at 27.
Okay. You went in at 27. Okay. Now, what that tells me is you've done a lot of knocking around. Yes. You've been doing a lot of fumbling around trying to find yourself, and I understand that. I get that. Brother, you've run out of time. You don't have time for any more fumbling around. You don't have that kind of time. The good news is, as a veteran, you got benefits. That's the good news. The bad news is you weren't in very long, so your benefits are kind of limited.
Sure.
You have to make the most of it. What you are doing right now is not going to get you very far. You're going to get a job working for the state, and that's going to be about it. So you're going to school to get a job, but as you just explained, if some jackass tries to start some static with you, the kind of job that you're going for is very, very fragile. You're going to be taking a lot of crap from a lot of people and being expected to toe the line. Why? Because the job you have is very fragile. You could lose it for any reason or no reason at all. They can dump you whenever they get ready to. You can own being an attorney. Being an attorney, you own that. You don't own being a corrections officer. You got the GI Bill. You could go and take an IT certification. You'd have that in 6 months. And you would own that. You could go for systems analyst. You can have that in 12 months. You would own that. And you'd be beholden to nobody. So right now, you're following your grandfather's path. Well, look where that ended up. You don't own anything. And the path that you're on, you're not going to own nothing there either. I'm just telling you before you get there. I got another year to go. At the end of that year, ain't no ownership, by the way. By the time you get there, there's not any ownership waiting for you at the end of 2015. There's a job that you will have to work at for 30 years before you can retire. And as you can see, you're in, what's that, Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Scott Walker is doing what to the public unions and the retirement? He's doing what to the retirement? Scott Walker became a household name and an internationally known infamous individual because he's breaking down the state's unions and retirements in Wisconsin. And that's where you gonna be. So you are putting yourself under a hammer, and you can already, and this was years ago he started doing this. So you decided to go do this after he started targeting the state employees. You did this after he started doing that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that's a good decision. Not only will you have a job that's already fragile, you got one that's under the gun, going to be under target. That he will be targeting. He's already got it in the crosshairs. And that you, right now, talking to me on this phone, you are not in the crosshairs. And you're going to spend the next 12 months working to be in front of the crosshairs. But this is a good idea. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that. I'm not going to do that. Call somebody else. Let them lie to you. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Now, unless your heart is just set that you really just like dealing with drug heads and dope addicts and rapists and following them around, micromanaging their lives, maybe there might be a part of you that has really just desired to do that for the last 41 years. I don't know. But if that's not, if you're still trying to find yourself, brother, you're heading in the wrong direction. I don't know who got you onto this. You're heading in the wrong direction. That this is not something that ends in empowerment. It ends in a job. And maybe you might get comfortable for that. Maybe your health will hold out until you're 72. Your health might hold out.
Well, you know, my professor told me that. She's like, well, I necessarily don't have to do that. I can go other avenues and go to the 4-year and go to a different avenue.
What I will say is that you have the government giving you a free ride for your education. Are you really making the best use of it right now? With the chosen field you're going into. What do you want to do with your life, Willie?
Honestly, I want to be able to have something, you know, like Big Mama had with the land, and pass it on.
Willie, what do you want to do with your life? What's your life's goal, Willie? What's your dream? What do you dream of doing with your life? When you get up in the mornings, what do you want your time to be consumed with? What?
Don't have that.
Then I'm going to make the most radical recommendation to you that a person has ever made to you, Willie. Stop. I would rather see you stop what you're doing, find out where you need to be, and go there, than to keep going in a direction that is ultimately a dead end. Because I was waiting for you to say that. I was waiting for you to actually say, I went from 27 years old to 42 years old, and I don't actually know what I want to do with my life. Now that we've actually found out where ground zero is, Now that we actually know how bad the situation really is, now we can help you. You are going to have to accept that you're not actually sure what you want to do. And that's why you're fumbling around aimlessly, because you don't actually have a goal. You're trying to end up somewhere and you're hoping that the goal will define itself. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the goal and then you go in that direction. Find out what you want to do with your life, Willie. And then your schooling goes towards that. And if you're going to go to school to get a degree so you can get a job, you make sure that you get a job that gives you an income, that your income will be invested towards that, not towards the job. The degree is not for the purposes of getting the job. You get the job so you can get the income so you can do what you want to do. But right now, that last step is missing. What do I want to do? You're just trying to figure out what you have to do, as opposed to actually executing a plan towards what you want to do. I don't have a problem with you having a job as long as that job is a step towards getting where you want to go. That is not what you're doing right now. You're going through the motions of going somewhere, and in reality, you just admitted, but I'm not actually going anywhere.
Well, I like the classes that I'm in. I like the subject.
Okay, then you can do that. But my question to you next is, okay, what's the goal? Because you said the goal is to be a corrections officer. You can get a job at a prison without going to school. So obviously you must be talking about something like a parole officer or something like that. But like I said, is that really what you want to spend the next 40 years? We know what you did with the last 40 years. Do you want to spend the next 40 years doing that?
Not necessarily, no. But I like the subject.
Well,
I find it intriguing. I find it interesting, and I've been in situations where the knowledge has helped me.
Well, definitely make sure that you have something that you own out of it, because right now I've heard a game plan for having a job. I have not heard a game plan for owning anything, and that's the part that concerns me. I gotta get some more callers in here, but I will let you have the last word, Willie.
Well, I appreciate the insight. Black first.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. We're very glad to have you. Please call us again. Let's grab caller from 336. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, Black First. This is James Matthews calling from North Carolina.
James Matthews, what's on your mind, brother?
I wanted to ask you a question. I hear like a lot of people in the social justice crowd and a lot of social justice warriors talk about it. And they keep on bringing up equality, like during this time, like with with the Michael Brown verdict, all this protesting and stuff. And I was wondering, I was thinking to myself, like, I don't think we as black and white people can truly be equal in America, because it's like we're 14% of the population, and they're like 70%, and it's kind of impossible because it's like if you try to divide it in half, they're going to always get most of the benefits and stuff. So I'm kind of like with Claude Anderson, we should get corrective action for all the stuff that happened to us during slavery, Jim Crow, all the stuff that we have been deprived of, and we should work on trying to be semi-autonomous in this country, like building our own communities and stuff. It's kind of like the Native Americans, where the stuff white supremacy doesn't kind of affect us. Do you somewhat agree on that?
In a wonderful fairy tale world, yes. Now you have to understand, brother, you talk about Dr. Claude Anderson. I talked one-on-one to Dr. Claude Anderson for 4 hours, and I got it recorded. So I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know, and I can show you the video that proves it. Now, let's be clear on a couple of things. Are black people owed reparations more than any other people who have ever existed on this planet, period, end of discussion, bar none. But as I have always said, in the immortal words of Tony Brown, I don't know what it is that black people feel that white people owe them, but whatever it is, I'm firmly convinced they are not going to give it to us. They've had 150 years to make right on what they did, and they are no closer to doing it today than they were in emancipation. They're not even inching in that direction. You have a biracial president, and he is on their side, not yours. You've had tons of black politicians, and they are on their side, not ours. So whatever it is that we think that they owe us, I am firmly convinced they're not gonna just give it to us. It must be taken. We are going to have to take it out of their asses. Now here's the problem. The problem is, number one, it is not population. Get that out of your head, Matthew. It is not a numbers game of population. It's a numbers game of money, economy. We cannot force their hand because we don't have superior population numbers, so you can't pull a Robert Mugabe. But at the same time, the problem is that even if we could, we don't have any money. We don't have the money to do it. They've got the money. So even if the numbers were flipped tomorrow morning and they were 14% of the population and we were 67%, which is the number they actually are, the American population, even if we woke up tomorrow and we were 67% of the population, you know what you'd have? South Africa, where the whites are 8% of the population and 80% of the money. Bottom line, if you are not going to deal, slow down. Bottom line, if you're not gonna deal with this money issue, you ain't gonna get nothing else done. It's a non-starter. It is delusional to talk about any other step, including reparations. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. We all agree we should get it. I'm just saying that there's no more need to discuss it if we don't have our economic game together, because we're gonna have to force it. They're not going to give it. We got to make them give it. But that's not going to... People with an economy do not succumb to people who have none. People with a bigger economy victimize people with a weaker economy. If we want reparations, if we want separatism, if we want independence, if we want freedom, we got to get our money together. Period. Exclamation point. Bar none. End of discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm like, when you said take it, because you said a whole bunch of Negroes just now when you said take it, but oh well, the hell with them. Because it's like a lot of people keep on talking about it, and it's like what kind of irritates me with black people is the constant shaming tactics, like you were talking about earlier, trying to shame them into forcing us into Hollywood, trying to shame them into forcing us into their school system, trying to shame them into like making us into their entertainment system and stuff, like with movies, music and stuff. It's like we always constantly trying to shame them instead of trying to build our own whatever.
Everybody is trying to get better slave quarters on the plantation. Nobody is actually, not enough of us are trying to get a place that we own that is not on no damn plantation. Dr. Boyce Watkins, he had a video that he did just a little bit a while ago here with a lady from Botswana. And he was talking about Hollywood and the entertainment industry and how black people are in economics. Black people, he said that one of the reasons that black people don't go into business is because the first thing that we look at is saying, well, my business will never be as big as the white guys. First of all, you don't know that. Second of all, it doesn't matter because, as I've explained to you all before, $5 million a year from a business that you own is worth more than $20 million a year from a job that you do not own. $5 million a year as an employer is worth more than $20 million a year as an expendable employee. And first of all, second of all, it's not even like black people are making a whole bunch of money being employees anyway. It's not like you're doing better by not being an entrepreneur. It's not like you're doing better. It's not like we're really rising up the ranks by being America's employees. That's not happening. Being America's consumers, that's not happening. It's not like it's benefiting us. It's not like that's happening. So we might as well go for what's actually going to benefit us. We've got every reason to do it and absolutely no reasons not to. The bottom line, brother, is most Negroes are scared. They are scared of taking the risk, and they are scared that if they do succeed, they will no longer be eligible for the pat on the head from massa, because that's what they really want. They really want that approval. And if I go off and build something myself, then that's going to offend white society. And once I offend them, they're going to go to war against me. And the first thing they will do is they will ignore me. I will no longer be a candidate or eligible for a pat on the head. And I'm not going to have you take that away from me, because I've been waiting my whole damn life to get them to finally acknowledge me. There's your reasons right there. I explained that before 7 a.m. came out, and I'm explaining it today. When I said 7 a.m. explained, the two reasons that black people do not build their own economy: number one, they're afraid of retribution. Number two, they are afraid that they will no longer receive reciprocity. Now, there are people who, and brother, we've had that problem since day one. Since day one. There are only two types of black people in America, and don't you fool yourself, Matthew, into believing anything else. There are only two types of black people in America. Number one, those who see that racism and white supremacy exist and are getting up and fighting and doing something about it. And number two, those who know that racism and white supremacy exist and they just go back to picking the cotton. Lee Daniels just sat here, and I played the audio for y'all where he just outright, flat out said, I'm not going to speak against white supremacy. I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to speak against racism. I'm not going to do that. And if that makes me a sellout, well, so be it. I'm a sellout. Brother, he's letting you know he don't give a damn about white supremacy putting lashes on our backs. He has carved out a niche for himself, and he doesn't care if he never makes it to the top. He's got his position, he's got his place, and most black folk are trying to do the exact same thing. And that's why most black people will not hold his obvious words of treason against him, because most black folk trying to do the same thing. They're trying to figure out how to get what he's got. They're trying to figure out how to get what he has. That's all.
I heard you talking about, like, in this video on YouTube, you used to, like, talking about the Armageddon in California, how, like, the Asians are, like, the economic powerhouse in California. And is that the reason why Asians always don't want to, like, form a coalition with black people in California? Because, like, we're at the bottom and they're at the top, and, like, if they try to equal with us or try to form one with us, like, we'll kind of drag them down since they're at the top of the food chain and we're, like, at the very bottom and stuff. That's why they, like, oppose affirmative action and stuff in California.
The reason that a black and brown coalition cannot work, will not work, the reason why a black and yellow coalition, black and red, black and white, black and anything coalition does not work and cannot work is because people who are your socioeconomic superiors, people who are building, have absolutely no incentive to join together with somebody who is obviously not building. Power does not respect weakness. Power respects power. You want to know why they're not joining with us? Brother, what's the benefit to them of doing it? What would they gain by doing it? You got Asians who have money, Asians who have assets, and black folk who have nothing. Show me the benefits that black people bring to the table that Asians can
10 seconds.
Here are my benefits, and let me show you yours. Show me where black people have demonstrated that. Show me where that's what we have happening. Because it's not occurring. And you can't get anybody anywhere on any level to join with you on anything, because you are talking about a black and brown, black and yellow coalition, but in reality you're really describing riding the Asians back, because he's the only one who actually brought any money to the table. The folk that you listen to who talk to you about a black and Asian coalition, tell me how many of those people have any assets or wealth or money of their own?
0.
So these people are talking to you about a hypothetical, and the Asians understand that black people spend most of our times lying and hustling and conning people, and that's why they don't play with us. They don't even play the game of listening to us, because they know when we come to the door, they know that we're coming through the door trying to hand them an intangible. He's not happy with an intangible. He wants a real BMW and a real Lexus and a real ranch house. and a real 5 acres. He wants the real thing. He doesn't want your damn hypotheticals. Black people are the only people in the world who have whole groups around the country, around the world, really, not just around the country, around the world, where we will get together and discuss spirituality. And as I explained to you all before, do you notice that even in your so-called conscious community, all they do is discuss religion? And in the black community in general, we got churches everywhere. Why? Because all we discuss is religion. And you go around the world, even in Africa, got mega churches in Africa, poorest continent on earth, mega churches there though. Even they've caught on about the hustle. Even they understand it. That we sell people intangibles. And people who operate in the world of tangibles ain't gonna fool with an obvious con man who has come here to try to sell him intangibles. He's not gonna fool with you. That's why these other people are just bypassing us today. They're just bypassing us. The Arabs are bypassing us now. They don't even want to talk to you because they know what you're about. They already know that you're not actually bringing any money or assets to the table. You just want to know how you can grift off of his. This black and Asian coalition is not about, okay, the Asian guy brings his assets and I bring my assets. You just want it to be, hey, Asian fella, get together with me so that we can both beg the government for more goodies and beg Hollywood and white corporations for more goodies. And the Asian is like, damn that. I don't have to beg them for anything. I own mine. I don't have to own a McDonald's. I own Chang's Chinese restaurant. And no, I don't make $50 billion a year. I only make $500,000 a year. But guess what? That $500,000 is all mine. And nobody can take my franchise away from me, and I'm not paying for fast food commercials that denigrate me or my people. I have given my people a restaurant, an anchor in the community where we can spend money with ourselves, and it is in our best interest. And I am beholden to no one. That's what my $500,000 got me. It got me power, wealth, and influence. I am owned by no man. Black folk run up to these people who understand what power, wealth, and influence are, who understand that it's all about ownership, and black folk only come to them with a plan for being employees. And then we can't figure out why nobody on the other side of that coalition fence is coming over here. Because we're giving them a strategy for ending up broken, powerless, just like us. And they ain't falling for it.
I know you said 1,000 times that that California is done with. Is there any way? Because I have a heart and I want to help see our people win, and I want our people to move forward. But is there any way they can turn their behavior around, or are they just completely done with? There's nothing they can do.
Brother, California's done. The numbers are over. The numbers are over. California's done. You will have a few black people.
I have family members out there.
You will have a few black people who reside in California who may do well, more or less. But as far as building a black community in California, please, you had Watts, you had Compton, you had South Central. What you got? What did you do with it? You did nothing. It's over. It's over. Stick a fork in it, turn out the lights, close the curtains. It's done. You can't sit up and be stupid forever and then think you're going to recover or that somebody's going to come bring you salvation. California's done. You will only have a few individuals out there who are going to make good for themselves, but these were people who already did good for themselves already. As far as galvanizing California as a bastion of black influence, you can forget that. The numbers are not there. The Hispanics have the momentum, and they are using it to create a social, economic, and political machine that serves them, not black people. Right now in Los Angeles, the city is a three-legged stool, black, brown, and white. In the next 20 years, one of them is going to go from being a stool to being a bicycle. It's only going to have 2 wheels. The black one's going to be gone. Hell, truth be told, you're already there. Why? Because once you become economically insignificant, you become numerically insignificant and politically insignificant. Do you understand that? If you don't have an economy, your population numbers don't matter. So in reality, when I say that black people are done in California, I'm saying that because economically they're already gone. They're not on their way to being gone in California. There is no black economy in California. They're already done. They're already done. So we ain't no need to even talk about salvation. It's already over. It's already over. The money and the momentum and the wealth are pouring like a flood into the Hispanic community in California. There's nothing black folk can do at this point. There's not enough momentum and there's not enough incentive from anybody to put any money in black folks' hands. It's over. And now you got the Asians and the Arabs. The Asians are the ascendant class now. They've got more power and influence and in some places more population than black folk do. San Mateo. The Asians run the yard in San Mateo. Have for 20 years. They run the yard. Black folk don't run nothing that's actually excelling. And we don't run anything that has economic progress behind it. It's already over, brother. I'm not talking about what's going to happen. Brother, it's already over. We're not losing California. We already lost it. Thank you, Tom Bradley. We already lost it. Thank you, Ron Dellums. We already lost it.
Because I've seen in the 7 a.m. trailer that Umar said that economic death precedes biological death. The economic state of the people is the main state of the people. Wherever they are economically is going to determine where the people are and where they're going to go.
Well, if you're economically dead, I guess that tells you exactly where you're going.
Is there any way we can, like, if black people were serious, could we make our HBCUs as competitive as, like, the white schools?
Sure. If we were serious.
Like,
If we were serious, yes. The problem is, no. But the short answer to your question is, of course, you could do it in one calendar year, but you would need a faculty, parents, and students who were all there seriously. Because when you go to UCLA, Columbia, those places, they understand what it takes to maintain power, wealth, and influence, and they are serious about it. Black folk, we got schools, but the students aren't serious, the parents don't give a damn, and the faculty could care less. No wonder you can't get nothing done.
Because I know they have to rely on federal budget, and the thing about it is the white schools, they teach their students to be entrepreneurs. That's why they have these billion-dollar budgets, and these HBCUs teach their students how to be workers and stuff, and that's why a lot of the alumni are now like multi-millionaires and billionaires and stuff. Because it's like the only billionaire you can think of that came out of HBCU is Oprah, but you can think of billionaires that came out of so many private white schools.
Okay, Oprah came out of an HBCU, and what has she done for HBCUs? She spent all her money to make a school in Africa for lesbian girls. So, brother, I mean, what you say, everything you're saying is correct. But at this point right here, we need to get rid of the HBCUs. We should only have like one. Because we've got a couple of dozen HBCUs and they do nothing for us. Stick a fork in them. They're finished. They're trade schools. We already got state universities for trade schools. We got community colleges for trade schools. Why would I go to a historically black trade school? If you're not going to give me something that these other places can't give me, what are they giving? They're not even offering anything. They're not even offering African identity. I had so many of your HBCUs, and I didn't get to touch on that in 7 a.m. as much as I wanted to. But, brother, do you understand how many of your HBCUs in the economics departments, that so many of your HBCUs have whites running those? Go take a look at Howard University. I'm not even going to tell you about that one. Go take a look at Howard University. You all can go online right now to Howard University's website and go take a look at their economics department. I won't even name that one for you. Go take a look. I showed you in 7 a.m. one of the people. I didn't even show you all of them. I just didn't want to sit here and depress you to death. Go take a look at the rest of them. That's what's going on with your HBCUs. Your HBCUs are trying to hire Asians and Arabs and whites now. They don't even have black faculty like that anymore. So we call them HBCUs. We call them black colleges and universities historically, yeah, because they no longer really are. In all honesty, if we're just going to be totally honest about it. So as far as I'm concerned, we need to just stop. I liked Hampton University. I went there to go interview Brett Pulley. Hampton University impressed me. Hampton University impressed me. Anybody who's got anything greasy to say about Hampton, like I say, all I can say is consider the source. I went to Hampton University. I interviewed Brett Pulley, and you know, when they saw us coming in with our cameras and stuff, there was a little bit of high-spiritedness from some of the younger folk. But as far as their facilities, it was nice. It was clean. The bathrooms were bright and up to date. They didn't smell bad. I mean, it was like being damn near like being in a hotel in there. I'm talking about the bathrooms. So, I mean, hey, I at Scripps Howard School of Journalism, I mean, Hampton University, Hampton impressed me. As far as, and understand, we just came out of town and we were just walking around, so it's not like they had time to spruce the place up or anything. So that tells me what they live like. But if I could, I'd shut the rest of them down. We'd have Hampton and start over from there, like we did with Tuskegee. Start over from there, because your HBCUs, they don't do nothing for you. I'll let you have the last word.
Because I noticed yeah, what I also wanted to say was, it's really depressing what our people state is in Africa. It's like we are the numeric majority, but you have so many Russians, Chinese, Arabs, Lebanese, East Indian rushing to our continent and just taking the resources and depleting them and taking them back to their home countries, whatever, and just making as much money as they can off of it. And we're doing nothing about it. We're just singing, dancing, praying, waiting for Jesus to save us, and we're doing nothing about it. And I think that, you know, the continent, like some of these countries are going to be like numerically black populated, but it's going to be really low. But the invaders are just going to be the numeric majority, and just we're going to complain about it, and that's when we're going to get our act together when it's too late, like we're doing now in America. So black first, brother.
Black first, brother. And, you know, and in Africa, you've got a situation where, like, with the minerals and the resources, I mean, Apple has bought sapphire for like the next 10 years. They've just bought this insane amount of sapphire. And we know that's all going to come out of Africa. They buy these insane amounts of minerals and tin and gold and latinum and platinum and palladium and everything else. Any mineral you can name. They buy these insane amounts. You know why? Because they have something to use it for. They're making iPhones. So they're not going to Africa because they like Africa, and they're not going to Africa because they're necessarily interested in dominating black people. They're going to Africa because that's where the minerals are. And they're dominating the population that has the resources and the minerals because they have a use for them. Tell me, if black people had control of Africa's resources today, what would we use them for? We don't own a cell phone company. We don't own a car company. We don't own a shoe company. We don't own a clothing company that's worth a damn. We don't own an electronics company. We would have access to all these precious minerals, all of these diamonds, all this gold, all of these metals. We'd have access to them, but nothing to use them for. These guys are going over there because they have a place to use them. They're going to put them on a boat. They're going to put them on a plane. They're going to put them on a train. They're going to put them on a truck. And they're immediately going to take them someplace where they can refine them, use them, manufacture them, mass produce them, and profit from them. Show me where your black nerds are who are making an iPhone. Oh, wait a minute. The bastard baby maker generation, while Steve Jobs was making the Mac and the iPhone, the bastard baby single mother slut culture generation told you that knowing how to speak English properly was for white folks. What that whore did not tell you was that if learning how to speak English is properly for white folk, then poverty is for black folk. She didn't tell you that. So now you got a bunch of black kids who know how to program their music into a cell phone, but have no earthly idea how to make a cell phone. Let me say that again, Bushika, Chandalika, Tanisha, Lashiria, and the rest of you sluts out there raising 75% of black children and teaching them that being dumb is cool. And being Mr. Swag and stupid and illiterate is sweet. That's what real Negroes do. Your sissified, swagalicious, Lee Daniels switching your hips, mama's boys know how to program music into a cell phone and no earthly idea how to make a cell phone. And that is why they are the slaves of white supremacy. And you are the handmaidens because you have raised them to be that. Caller from 972, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, Jason. This is Kimberly calling from Texas.
Hello, Kimberly calling from Texas. What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to step back and talk about the whole Monique and Lee Daniels issue. And I was just really curious as to your thoughts as to why, after Monique realizes that ownership is the way to go, why would she, because it sounds like she understands the underlying issue, why would she then go make a gay movie? I mean, I don't understand where she was going with that and what her angle is.
Same one that Lee Daniels has. That's what I was explaining before.
But, I mean,
exact same angle as Lee Daniels.
But if she understands the game, then why would you play into their hands? Is it really just all about the dollar for black people? Because, I mean, to me, it looks like it doesn't matter how far you get, you're going to eventually sell out, even if you know what's right. I mean,
no, that's not what happens.
Stop?
That's not what happens. That's not what happens. That's not what happens. As I've always explained to people, that people are chosen in Hollywood, okay? They don't break in. That's the biggest lie that was ever told. They don't break into Hollywood. You're chosen. You're chosen. And they choose these people. Monique was chosen. Halle Berry was chosen. Lee Daniels was chosen because you are just now finding out that Halle Berry is a bedwench in 2001 in Monsters Ball, 2004, whatever it is. You are just now finding it out. Her masters knew this a long time ago. They knew this, and that's why Lee Daniels was a part of it. Do you consider it to be any wonder that there's only one in black society? When it usually comes to economics, there's 6 or 7 degrees of separation. In Hollywood, when it comes to coonery, there's only 1 degree of separation of one black person to another. Now, how the hell is that flip-flopped? Because in Hollywood, you're chosen. And they choose you based on the type of person you are. So when these people come around us, they talk one way. But to get those jobs, they talk another way when they get around white folk. They all play the game. Lee Daniels is just a guy who just admitted it. But they all play the game. All of them. Including Denzel, by the way. I'm not going to beat up on him too much. Truth be told. He couldn't be where he is if he didn't. But they all do. All of them.
So are you saying now that someone like Monique now, okay, maybe she wasn't playing the game and now she's choosing to play the game?
No, what I'm telling you is that she's always played the game and she's still playing it. But you did not see her say anything against white supremacy. You didn't see that. She didn't say anything against the corporations either. Did you notice that? She is not declaring war against them, and she's not going to, because she wants to make sure that she has the opportunity to go back someday. But don't delude yourself into thinking that she's had some epiphany and she's off the plantation. As I explained, she understands it's about ownership, but she's still playing the game. She had to get her ass kicked to even get this far. But she's just trying to hold something together until something else comes along. But she's playing the game like everybody else. She's one of them. She's not one of us. She's one of them. That's why they chose her in the first place. She is one of them. She's one of them.
Well, it seems like this new direction she's taking and partnering up with Isaiah, Washington. Is that his last name, Washington?
Yes.
I mean, I guess that's her entry point.
Another Hollywood outcast, but go ahead.
But I guess that's her, entry point back in. Let me show that I really am accepting of homosexuality, and I'm making this, the black fight. So this is my way for you guys to let me back in, and this is my way to say I'm sorry. Because, I mean, if you look at, I mean, I know you don't watch a lot of television, but if you see any of the posts on Facebook and any of the other social platforms, I mean, every show now, whether it's a reality show or a scripted drama, there is a strong homosexual storyline. So, I mean, this is being and a black one. So this is the new storyline for black people is, unfortunately, gay first. Then you can be black. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you notice that what's his
like
name? Neil Patrick Harris, How I Met Your Mother. He's a gay guy on a TV show pretending to be straight, which is what he's always done. But with black folk, it's exactly the opposite. You've got all these so-called straight black people who claim to be heterosexual, but when they put them on TV, it's gay, gay, gay. From Will Smith, now Felicia Rashad. Variety magazine reports that Felicia Rashad, Clara Huxtable herself, that they're going to be a new TV series. I think it's going to be on CBS, and she's going to be playing a lesbian female on this show. And let me tell you, when they have her kissing another woman, y'all are just going to fall out and freak out. But if you all go back and investigate Felicia Allen, I'm sorry, am I not supposed to say her real name? I mean, when you divorce somebody, can you really still be calling yourself by their last name? I guess you can. But if you go and investigate Felicia Allen when she started, go look up on Google Images. Go look up Felicia Rashad album. And you'll find a few images, not one or two. You'll find a few images from about 35 years ago. For everybody who's out there, go look it up. Go to Google. I'm not even going to tell you what to do. I'm not even going to tell you what to look for. Just go to Google and type in Felicia Rashad album, ALBUM, and take a look at some of the images you're going to see when you pull up that search. I'm not even going to tell you what to look for when you get there. Go look it up for yourself. And what I'm telling you is that was what they saw when she first got brought into the industry. Go and take a look at what Bill Cosby saw when she first came into the industry. As a young woman, that was what she was selling. That was what got her on CBS the first time. You all don't know these people. Pam Grier. How many exploitation movies did she do where she's breast to breast with white women? Am I lying, anybody? Kimberly, am I making that up?
No.
How many movies did all those so-called big-breasted black actresses from the 70s, all these jail movies where they're in these lesbian situations with white women, all this softcore porn stuff from the 70s, not the 90s, not the 2000s, from the 70s. A bunch of big-breast, all your favorite big-breasted black women from back then, and every one of them's got a movie of them breast to breast with their breasts pressed up against white women. All this lesbian stuff. That was when they were young and had to get in. So they were telling these white men, I do girls. But they came back to you and told you that they were straight and got a husband. Because they understood that there were too many people like Malcolm and too many people like me. And that wasn't going to fly. So they came back to all of you and told you that they were straight. But when those white men got them alone in those rooms and said, do you want to be Claire Huxtable? He understood already she does girls. She's not about black folk first. She's about this over here first. But her people don't know that, and I'm not going to tell them. Because she will deliver black viewers. So I'm not going to tell them that. But they have always known. They have always known. And she's not the only one. Baby, we can run down the list if you want to. They all play this game. Y'all have been living under a delusion about this because we've never actually compared notes and never took out the time to investigate these people that we've been supporting all this time. Sister, they're all in on it. You show me the difference. And when you all go look up Felicia Rashad's album, go take a look at that Felicia Allen album. Go take a look at that album cover. And then it'll kind of come to mind something different. If you take a look at the color scheme of it, you'll notice that it looks kind of similar to Nicki Minaj's Anaconda cover, which has a striking resemblance to Lil' Kim's album cover, the famous one that she did with her legs gapped open. You'll start to notice a similarity between them. You'll start to notice that. And I'm telling you that this has always been there. It's always been there. I'm just the first guy to remind you all in the 21st century that I know it was there. The white media is not going to tell you this because they still want her to deliver black viewers. So even to this day, they're not going to sit up here and boast that. But I remember seeing it. And that's why I show it to you all today. The National Enquirer had it when she first got on the Cosby Show. When it first went big, the National Enquirer printed the images from her album cover because at that time it had been less than a decade. At that time, it had been about 10 years. Now, here we are, 30 years after Cosby, and you all have had plenty of time to forget the National Enquirer and plenty of time to forget that. But people like me have an obligation to remind you to pass the history on so that you actually see these people the way that they really are. And there's no difference with Monique. Monique didn't want to shave. She was fat. Isn't that lesbianism? I don't give a damn what men think. That is basic lesbianism. That's fundamental lesbianism. You need to start thinking about her. Remember that she said that she didn't care if her husband was messing around with other women or whatever. That sounds like threesome territory. And that sounds to me like Will and Jada Smith. Yikes. Oops. Wasn't supposed to say that neither, was I? I wasn't supposed to say that. I wasn't supposed to connect those dots. Sorry. I'm sorry, I was supposed to pretend that there were 6 degrees of separation when in reality I know that there's only one. Nobody is supposed to tell you all the truth and connect the dots like that. This is why they call me the authority. Because you all are hearing and seeing things that you saw nowhere. You saw Felicia Rashad about lesbianism and you all are like, wait a minute, I'm like, hey, y'all don't know how deep the rabbit hole really goes and nobody else has told you because they don't know. So if you want to know why the guy who's not very photogenic is able to get people to listen to me like I do, it's because I bring you information nobody else does. And in this case, it's not because they didn't have it, it's because only white people had it and they were afraid to tell you all. You all didn't even know what to go Google. You didn't even know what to look for. And because you didn't know what to look for, you never found it. Today, I shocked a lot of people. I've got more dams today on my timeline and more dams on my post than anything else. More damn and wow. People did not know that she got down like that. And you're like, but it's been 30-something years. And they've all been flying below the radar. And they're all poking their heads up one by one by one.
Well, that's unfortunate. Can I say one more thing, TBA? I know you have some other calls to take.
Yes.
Your caller before who was calling about college and just you were prodding him to really nail down what is it that he wanted to do. So I'm going to put up a post in the TMI group for those who are in that group, and maybe we can kind of help people who are struggling along with that, feeling like college is the only answer, or kind of narrowing it down on what you should or shouldn't do and things that you shouldn't pursue. I mean, you can't tell anyone what to go to college for, but I really, really encourage black students, particularly young black students, to shy away from the criminal justice, the social justice courses, those things like that, because even if you do choose to be an employee, you will be a very underpaid employee for the most part. There's always exceptions.
I disagree with that to a certain degree, but because we need to be all over the criminal justice system since that thing is targeting us so much. The reason that Italians and Irish were able to get the police departments to stop targeting them is because they became police officers. And black folk are the most targeted by the criminal justice system. We need to be all through that thing. From the parole officers, to probation officers, the public defenders, the judges. We're totally absentee. And what I'm saying is that I want us to get into a position where we own those things. I think we should start with the judges, because those would be the easiest to take since we do have political some political muscle in some areas, we ought to start there. I don't think we should start from the bottom. I think in this case we should start from the top, because it doesn't matter how crooked the lawyers are. The judges decide if you actually go to jail or not. And if we have some judges who can actually stop this prison, this public school to prison pipeline, that would be a great stopgap to give us some real time and leeway to fix the rest of the problems. But absolutely, go ahead and post it up. And for those of you who are not familiar, on Facebook we have a great group called TMI. That's the name of the group, is the letters TMI, and I definitely want you to join up with us there. It's free floating discussion. Unlike the official Jason Black group, I give you the ability to post up in the group yourself. Be civil, be intelligent, but you have the ability to post up in the group yourself. Something's on your mind, go ahead and sound off about it. That's definitely the kind of thing you want to be about. So if you haven't heard about it, if you haven't joined up with us yet, definitely do that. You can talk to me, you can talk to a bunch of other people. We have a lot of nice single women in the group who don't have kids, we found out, and they're not size 15s and 16s. I didn't want to just throw that out there right now. I'm on the phone with one right now, as a matter of fact. She is a full hourglass.
That's a full hourglass.
Yes,
okay.
Full hourglass.
Is that good, TBA? Okay.
No, she's on her way. She's almost at neat hourglass, as a matter of fact. She's almost ready for that Amber Rose thing. Almost. In a couple of more months, Kimberly will be at that level. And she's going to post up plenty of pictures so everybody can see it.
You're always nice to the callers. But yeah, TBI, I wanted to say I do agree with you. We certainly need, more blacks in the criminal justice system. We need more attorneys. We really need judges. But I think that a lot of us, and I just want to say this, are defaulting to, working in the prisons and, working in the jail. And here in Texas, I'm a witness to that. And I think we need to push beyond just doing, hey, locking up the cells and, like you said, micromanaging the prisoners. We need to push beyond that and set higher goals for ourselves. So I want to hear, what people think, and let's challenge ourselves. Let's really challenge ourselves as a people to go after the math and the science. And let's challenge ourselves to start, be innovative. There's a lot of things out here. Let's push and push ourselves, not just me, but ourselves as a group. We can do big things. We have the minds. And so I want people to feel empowered that they don't have to do the easy route. So I'm going to put that post up in TMI after show is done tonight. And so I hope we can get some really good feedback and really encourage some of those that are coming up.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for definitely checking in with us here tonight. And by all means, I want people to join you in TMI as well, because it's really worth your while. And definitely get to know Kim, people. She's a really great person. She's really good people. And she'll help expand your mind for you. Thank you for giving us a call. Let's go ahead and I'm going to try to grab one or two more people here before we wrap it up. Caller from 612, you're on live with the Black Channel. Well, we were going good for a little while. Caller from 612, you're on live. Okay, they're not there. Caller from 214, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Just listening.
Okay, we need to tell some people to learn where the number 1 is on their keypad. It's the one directly before the number 2, but right after the number 0. Caller from 682, you're on live with the Black Channel. Wait a minute.
Hi, Jason. It's Nicole.
Hello, Jason. It's Nicole. Hello, Nicole. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Texas also.
Texas is representing big tonight. Where at in Texas?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort where, Texas?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, it sounds like you calling from a soup can. Is everything all right over there? It sounds like you got a gag in your mouth. Is she calling us from the basement where she's tied up like the Silence of the Lambs? Do we need to call 411 or something?
No, I'll take y'all speaker. Is that better?
Okay, she's talking like she's got duct tape over her mouth. I'm calling from Texas. Help me. Okay, ooh. What'd she say? My phone auto-dialed the black channel. Help me, damn it. Don't interview me. Help me.
Well, I was calling to tell you my plan. To tell you my plan to ownership that I have.
Well, this I want to hear.
Okay, well, I am Nicole Odom. I'm the founder. I just got a nonprofit, W.E.B. Du Bois Child Enrichment Center. And so right now, I'm actually just working on, like, taking grant classes so that I can get funding to get my building and everything. So that's what I have going right now.
Well, Nicole, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you already know how I feel about nonprofit. That's profanity in my household. It's not for profit. I don't see how you operate that way. The other thing is it's a misnomer because you need money even to be a nonprofit, which seems anathema, but even for what they call a nonprofit, you need money for that. How's your cash flow going?
Well, I paid for my 501c3 already, so I have that.
Okay, you filed your paperwork, but I asked you how's your cash flow going. Brothers and sisters, when somebody asks you a question about money and the person responds immediately with a non-monetary answer, understand that they heard what you said. They're stalling because they understand that, oh yeah, you're asking about that money thing. Nicole, how's your cash flow?
It's going good.
It's going good.
I made enough to quit my job and just work my business. So.
Okay, a nonprofit is not a business, by definition.
Well, okay, like I have a plan. This is the plan. Like right now, see, and that's what so right now, I work from home, but I'm considering making that an LLC because the Small Business Association, they have grants also, but they don't have grants for a nonprofit. So either I would have to be a sole proprietorship or something so that I would be able to qualify for that funding.
Okay. Well, I've never been one for wanting the government in my business like that because dealing with the SBA is like dealing with a bank. It's not that their requirements are any different. I've never been one for wanting to get into that type of situation. That's just me, myself, personally. But, I mean, I'm glad to hear that things are going well. At least they're going well enough for you right now.
Yeah, I plan on, like, growing bigger. I'm almost done with school, so I can get my child development license and then I have my business degree. So I'm almost done by, like, this summer. So I was trying to go ahead and win proposals just because I want to go ahead and get, like, my building. But the thing is, it's not really government. It's, like, foundations, like private foundations. But you can also get government grants as well.
And what is our nonprofit supposed to be doing exactly?
Well, it's just like a child development center.
What does that mean? That sounds like a daycare. What does that mean, child development?
Well, basically, I feel like as a group of people, we should exit like white supremacy. So, like, I really want this to be basically like a non-public school. That's eventually what I want.
Yeah. You know, I think that everybody, if they want to make all these schools and everything, everybody should get together on that, to be totally honest. We got a bunch of black folk doing a bunch of things in a bunch of different areas. And I think we all really should find just one person and start there. Mm-hmm. But that tends to be a problem for us because the truth is there's so many black folk are so full of crap that it's so hard to get something like that going because people are proceeding under false premises. And it's hard to work with other black people on things when you have that going on. But truthfully, you know, because everybody wants to start a school nowadays and everything, I think that I wish all of y'all could get together if you're really serious about those things. Because you're dissipating your energies in so many different directions. If we had an organized economy, it would be different, but we don't. and all this dissipated energy and all this, energy spread out everywhere. All your resources are spread out. So you'll get a little bit done in Texas, and Umar will get a little bit done on the East Coast and stuff. And if everybody got together, you would actually get something real done, as opposed to something little. Because right now, black folk need to band together on those kind of things. That's why not very much gets done. It'd be nice if folk did that. I've got my own thoughts about things like that. I mean, definitely education is an important thing as far as reading and writing is concerned. I'd have to know more about exactly, what the criteria or curriculum is before I signed off on anything. But definitely, like I say, I mean, I hope it goes well for you. I hope it has an impact. Fort Worth definitely needs it. As far as black folk are concerned, it definitely needs it. I don't think that you'll be able to get your school to just cater to black students, though. So that's another issue. If you're getting money from the government, you have to play by their rules. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's basically gonna be right in urban area. That's the location.
Yeah, but I don't subscribe to code words. You say urban. I'm concerned about black people, not urban people. And if you get money from the government, you're not going to be able to use it for the benefit of black people. Why do you think that Urban League and NAACP have been changing their criterion so much? Once you start taking money from other people, whoever pays the money gets to dictate under what rules you use it. And as a non-profit, you'll be dependent on them to come back next year. Please keep all that in mind. It doesn't sound like you're building something for black folk. It sounds like you're building something that will ultimately be for the benefit of everybody else, not specifically for your people. And I don't think that's really what you want to do. I don't think that's really where you want to go, but I'm telling you that that's where your footsteps are taking you. I don't think that's your aim, but that's where you're going to end up.
Okay.
I got to see about taking one more call here, but I'll go ahead and let you have the last word, Nicole.
Okay, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. What I was thinking was just maybe because my actual school, maybe just doing the Child Development Center, just the nonprofit, and then the actual nonprofit school after I make enough money to pay for the school myself, maybe do that a LLC or something. I don't know.
Well, like I said, I mean, then talk it over, get with a tax attorney so that you can know exactly an attorney that does LLCs. Get with them so you can actually discuss what your options are and what's best for you, okay? Stop fumbling around. Deal with somebody who deals with this all the time, who deals with the IRS, who knows what will be the best, what would be most advantageous for you based upon what your ultimate goal is, because you don't know. And you need to deal with somebody who can help you based upon what your goal is, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for joining with us here. Like I say, it'll be a good investment for you. You go in and talk to them. You shouldn't have to pay them anything, but go in, have a consultation with them, talk with them, find out where you really want to go and what you really want to do, then start going in that direction. Don't just sit. Got a lot of black folk out here, like I said to the guy earlier, but flopping around, and that's a surefire formula to go nowhere. Thank you very much for giving us a call here, sister. Let me grab one more call here. Caller from 718. Is this Big Zoe?
Hi, my name is Craig from New York.
Okay, this is Craig from New York. Hello, Craig from New York. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to get a few things on my chest from what has been talked about today. I know you've been doing your broadcast for a little while, so I'm not going to hold you up for too long. The first thing, the guy that called earlier, the first guy, I would recommend if he was ever going to loan money ever again, which I hope that it never comes down to that when it comes to family, then you should look into getting a promissory note. So at least if it goes to small claims court, it'll have some kind of documentation as far as to the agreement they actually had.
Yeah, I mean something, even just just an email where you are explaining to them or getting them to agree and explain exactly what you want. But a promissory note, yes, absolutely. Get something that's notarized so that it is at least, clear as far as what that's concerned. But that takes focus. You have to be focused about your business before you go in. Black folk want to treat business like it's a friendship, and it's not.
I agree. I actually had the same problem we had before, loaning money to somebody. And I actually got screwed once, and I realized that obviously it wasn't a good thing, so I wanted to make sure I did everything in my power to make sure that wasn't going to happen again. So whenever I decide to loan money, if I ever do, which is rare cases, I usually do it with a promissory note, especially for substantial amounts. The next thing is, as far as the Monique and Lee Daniels situation, I think it's kind of ironic that Monique is so concerned about making a movie about homosexuals when she was so concerned about her family, the family unit, her husband and her child spending so much time together. I find that very ironic. And the last thing is the Lee Daniels situation. I found it very disturbing that he would actually say what he said, even if it is the case. But it is eye-opening. I think sometimes we suspect things, but it's sometimes a good thing to hear it from their mouth, so then it can be reinforced. So then you really can't debate that fact anymore because it's been said. And the sad part about it is, even though he's gotten his foot into the door with the dominant society, ultimately, based off of most black entertainers in general, when you look down the line, this usually doesn't last. There aren't many entertainers who have retired playing this game and done it successfully without any bruises or damages from the dominant society. So I don't know if he realizes that from history and where this is going to end up, but it's probably not going to end up in a good situation, and he can ask Bill Cosby about that.
Brother, the slaves never figure it out. The house niggas never figure it out. They always think that their position will be permanent. They always think that they were smarter than the rest of us. They always think that they were slicker than the rest of us. They always think that history doesn't apply to them. They always believe that, and they are always wrong. But they always believe that. That's how they got where they are. They figured that they know something that the last 15 million Sambos who did it did not know. That I'm slick on a level that they aren't. That they weren't. I got the touch. They all think that, and they're all wrong. They're always wrong about it.
I understand what Monique's trying to say as far as being self-sufficient, even though it's not genuine. But I hope at some point she actually takes that to heart and begins to realize, or things actually work out to a point where her first movie, even though I'm probably not going to watch that particular type of movie, will do decent, so then she will actually keep it the kind of momentum to maybe show other individuals that it's okay to be independent and try new things rather than being rely on other individuals for their money, because they'll make the rules at some point.
Yeah, but it's okay to be independent, but here's the problem. You got all these black folk complaining because you got whitewashed from the Oscars. All y'all niggas need to be, and I'm saying like I mean it, all y'all niggas need to be getting together. Taye Diggs, Sana Lathan, hell, the whole damn cast are waiting to exhale, those of you who are still alive. You got Antoine Fuqua, who's an excellent director. You got others. The guy who did Out of Time and stuff. Denzel has given chances to a bunch of black directors. They didn't do a damn thing with it. F. Gary Gray. Man, you got a bunch of folk out here. Terry Crews, and he's trying to get a role as, what was that, Jon Stewart or Luke Cage? He wanted to be Luke Cage on that Netflix series. Y'all Negroes need to be getting together. Michael Jai White is the only one still trying to do action movies like that. Big props to him. I don't have a problem with that. But hell, there's too many black folk who are out of work sitting up here bull jiving, waiting for that white phone call to come in. And that's the truth of why they don't get together, brother. They're all waiting for that white phone call to come in. Sylvester Stallone, the Italian stallion, he didn't wait for a damn thing. He got together with what? A bunch of other has-been action movie stars from the 80s. And y'all could laugh all you want, and you could joke all you want, and you could mock them all you want. Expendables 1 and 2 did gangbusters. He got together with a bunch of other white men who are supposedly has-beens and showed you what a bunch of has-beens could do. Black folk, we ain't gonna do that. When he did Expendables 1, Expendables 2 had twice as many of them. Black folk not doing that. We just sitting around complaining about what white people will not bring us. Tell me if that ever gets us any closer to them bringing it to us.
I agree. I definitely agree. And today more than ever, there's really no excuse for that per se, because there's so many ways to bring products directly to the consumer without having to go through a third party. So you can have Netflix and things of that nature who can actually help. And if not that, you have the internet as well to help sell your product. You'll end up getting more profit out of that rather than have to pay so many different people money to sell your product when you can give it or send it directly to a consumer, whether it's straight to DVD or, whether you can get on Hulu or Netflix. There are other options nowadays as compared to in the early days when you were so reliant on those particular formats to give your product to the masses.
Brother, if me and Tariq Nasheed are just two guys, we never been to Hollywood, nothing like that, and two guys who put out their own independent films, didn't have major distributors, did it all ourselves, if we could do it with hundreds of thousands of dollars, how the hell is it Negroes with millions of dollars can't do it? It's not that they can't, brother. We have verified for all of you. I'm telling you as a person who has done it, it's not because they can't, it's because they don't want to. They are waiting for that phone call from white society. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, keep up all the good work you've been doing, TVA. I've definitely ordered the 7 a.m. DVD, and hopefully I'll be getting it soon. And Black First.
Black First, thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Let me see if I can try this one more time. Is this Zoe on the line?
Master Black.
Black First,
Black
brother.
Channel. Black First. All I have to say is this has been must-listen programming tonight. We've had a crazy bunch of months, and obviously this week tops it all off.
What do you mean?
The reality is that people need to understand, both on a macro and on a micro level, the doors are closing, and as you said in months and years before, people are squatting up, people are grouping up, and it's a matter of that it's either conquer or be conquered. From the aspects where they say they have all these positive job numbers and this, the other, but the black unemployment rate has not changed. It's even gotten worse. We're having mass homicides, unemployment, pregnancies, all these different things, and people are worried about TV shows that have no relevance, or even worse, are trying to put you in the worst possible light. The thing that we have neglected for so long is a thing that we have to embrace more than ever. We have to take control of our own destiny and do what's in our own best interest, damned what other people would feel or think.
I've been there. I've done it. I've verified it for you all. I've been to the mountaintop. I've come back down. I've told you what I saw when I was up there. I've told you how to get there. I'm not going to drag anybody kicking and screaming because I can't do that. Brother, it's there. It's really real. I don't know what more to say to people. I don't know what more to say. As the great elder said, you will do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. You can do what you want, what you wish to do. We are not making it any farther because we do not wish to. We have a bunch of black folk who do not consider success to be success unless it came from a white hand. And that means that you don't actually want money, power, or influence. You want acceptance. And as long as a person knows that you want their acceptance, they will never give it to you. A person who is motivated by profit, as long as he knows that you're willing to trade money for acceptance, he will never give you acceptance. He will just give you the promise of acceptance. And he will just juice you for the rest of your days. Kind of like these Negroes calling these women their wives and never gave them a ring or a certificate. He's going to hold out the promise of marriage, have sex with you for the rest of his life, and here you are, a bitter old broad, and your best years are gone.
My people, very simple. You have to embrace and do the things that are not popular. One of the most positive and happiest things that I had the pleasure of doing over the last 2 weeks was being able to respectfully and appropriately recommend people for work and actually see them get jobs as surgical technicians, as registered nurses, both in hospitals, in nursing homes, in private clinics, and also advising a number of them that they shouldn't just stop at being somebody else's employee. They should go all the way, whether it's a master's degree as a nurse practitioner or whether they're getting their doctorate and moving on to being able to open up their own clinic or opening up their own nursing schools and those sort of things. Because the thing is this, the opportunities are out there, whether if it's in your mindset to be an employee working for somebody else and securing yourself a considerably above average living and wage, or whether you venture out, take the leap of faith, and be your own boss. The thing is, you can't look at what the other person is doing. You have to focus on the path that you're on. And we as a people need to stop wanting to be taken care of and actually start taking care of ourselves.
Brother, it's a matter of decision. It's simply a matter of decision. Now, Blog Talk's about to cut you all off here in just a few minutes, but I'll let you have the last word.
Here's the last word. And this is something that is painful because I've seen some things happen in the last 2 weeks that should have never happened. If we have a problem with one another, let us talk amongst ourselves in private. We should not take to the internet or a social media platform to blast somebody and try to destroy them without knowing all the facts. Because unfortunately, it will come back to haunt you. And we've unfortunately seen it from a person who had promise, but who compromised his integrity because they did not realize that you don't come against your brother because your brother will be the one that will have to save you when you do get yourself in trouble. The other thing is this. The very people that you think are your friends that will join you to destroy you, who you think is your enemy, will be the same ones to cut your throat. Black first.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Brothers and sisters, I did tonight's broadcast because I wanted to remind you of a very simple principle here. It is not about what you feel. It is not about what you hope. It is not about what you believe. It is about what you own, what you control, and what you are passing down. And people are choosing their sides. It's not a joke anymore. They're choosing sides. They know what they're doing. And we have a number of individuals who have already been bought and paid for by the bad guys. The bad guys have made a sizable investment in them, and now they are looking for that investment to pay off. Now, you have a choice to make. Will the 21st century be different, or will the 21st century be it? Those are your choices. 7 a.m. is shipping out on DVD now. You're going to start seeing it not just on our website, but in places around the country. We've got other wholesalers who are going to start being able to sell 7 a.m. Everything ought to be popping off here next week. First thing next week, as a matter of fact. Everybody should start popping off for that. We do have the orders that are going out. Thank you all very much for your patience. Amazon, go to hell. And definitely, if you want to get your DVDs, you can go to our website, 7ammovie.com. That's 7ammovie.com. For everybody else, we are going to get to your emails. We are going to get to you about wholesaling and whatnot. Thank you very much for your patience. We got an avalanche of orders that we're under, but we are going to get that taken care of. This is the most important documentary of all time. There is a reason that people have been talking about it, flocking to it. There's a reason why it's been making shockwaves around the world. Detroit, 7 a.m. is coming. New York City. New York City. 7 a.m. There is a good chance that 7 a.m. is coming back to New York. We're going to find out here in the next couple of weeks if that's going to be the case. And if it is, if you missed it the first time, take off work, call in sick, threaten your wife or your husband with divorce, but you want to show up for the most important documentary of all time. And one more thing, I want to have a special screening of 7 a.m., a very special screening with a very special guest, and it's going to be the biggest thing that we've ever done. I'm going to try to put that together. I'm working on it. I've been meaning to work on it now for a couple of months. I want to put together something really, really special. And if we can pull it off, if we can make it happen, I don't care where you are in America, you are going to want to show up to see this particular screening of 7 a.m. So definitely be watching on that. I don't want to throw things out there that I'm not sure about. I'm just telling you that I got something special that I would like to do. I'm trying to put the pieces in place. If I can do it, we'll talk more in the future. If I can't, tonight will be the only time I ever mention it. And if I don't mention it again, hey, things just didn't come together. Dare greatly, as the Cadillac commercials say. But definitely in New York City, be watching on that. We're trying to put something else together due to popular demand. Detroit, 7 a.m. is coming back. Looks like March 12th. And in other cities around the world, we got other screenings that are coming up as well. You definitely want to be a part of that. And why should I go to a 7 a.m. screening if you're selling 7 a.m. on DVD? For a very, very good reason. Number one, the screenings are cheaper. It's cheaper to come to a theater and watch 7 a.m. Cheapest thing you can do. Number two, you are going to be able to commune with other black people who are serious about business. Consider it a business conference that you will be able to meet other black people in your city and in your area who are serious about building assets, serious about building an economy. You know that they're already vetted because they showed up to see this. This ain't booty shaking and twerking. This is not out of control spirituality. This is not historical masturbation. This is black economic empowerment 101 through and through to the bone. You definitely want to be there for that. And the third reason that you should show up for a 7 a.m. screening as opposed to trying to wait for a DVD is because of the experience. Because your children are going to want to know where you were. And you will be able to tell them, I went here. I saw it in this city. I remember what happened there. If you went to Washington, D.C., sold out house. And among other things, you got to listen to Brett Pulley, Dean of the Scripps Howard School of Journalism at Hampton University, best-selling author for the New York, best-selling author of the $1 Billion Bet. You get to listen to somebody, you got to hear somebody speak to you in person about that. In Philadelphia, we're hoping to get something together in Philadelphia of this as well, because Philadelphia definitely needs it. And other places. So understand, there's a reason why you want to go to a screening. And if you are in an area that has a screening, you want to go. I don't care if you got 50 DVDs. A DVD does not replace an auditorium full of black people who are about black economic empowerment. That's not going to happen at your house on a couch. So if we're having a screening, you better get your tickets and you better be there, because what you're missing out on is other black people. This is not about entertainment. It's about building. Go where the builders are. Be at the screening at 7 a.m. in your city. Updates and information coming soon. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future, more than ever, is uncompromising.